Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you may be watching this transmission. Welcome back to election coverage. I'm trying to get an election coverage going here, but I keep getting kicked off. My stream getting kicked off, and it keeps being allocated to more important channels. So I'm just trying to get my message across here, guys, very simply. So let's cover what's happening now in the elections, and this thing is a big deal. This thing's really starting to piss me off. This law that they passed, or they're passing, or they're setting it into law, it's being read into law, and which party will govern still unclear. So here we go. We're getting results in from all over now. So, sorry, Liberals still taking the lead. Conservatives still trailing behind by quite a bit, actually. But you need to remember that this was an unexpected blue winnings here in New Brunswick. And some of these parts should have been red originally. Sorry, guys. Most of these should have been red originally. And, yeah, here it is. Disillusion. So 62, difference of 115. So they are going down. The Liberals are going down, people. If you pay attention to the aggregation against of what they had before from 177, there's a difference of 111. They're going down. Do you understand? So Liberals are not looking too good. So let's go to... Sorry, guys. What writing is this? Menakukigan. This one here is a big riding up here in northeastern Canada, and it looks like the Bloc Québécois is winning with 22, and then Dave Savard, Liberals, in second, and then Colleen McCool, NDP, and Francois Korolyov, Conservative, and Jacques Guillenot and Green, and Cote for the PPC in last there with one win. Okay, we are here in the Nunavut, I guess, Nunavut or area there. Sorry, guys, I'm just trying to get this thing to cooperate here. And again, all Bloc Québécois, 239, Liberal, 223, Martin Ferron, Conservative, 141, and Jacqueline Rillineau, NDP, 107. And in Ontario is where I'm looking at. So let's zoom in to the GTA and Toronto area. These are the votes that matter right here. This section of Ontario is actually going to win or break Eastern Canada. So this is going to decide what's going to happen with Eastern Canada, is the Toronto and the Greater Toronto riding area. So let's go to Toronto Centre and see what we got there. Nothing yet. We did get East York, and we got Liberal winning that, then NDP right behind. And then we got Scarborough Centre with no votes, and we got Scarborough Agnecourt, no votes. So we're waiting to see if any votes come in to start upsetting the Liberals here in Ontario, because this might make a difference. So we got 18 watching. The guys, thanks for coming back. I really appreciate that, you guys coming back. So we got BPOD on the comments. Guys, there's not a lot of people watching because we kind of failed earlier. My transmission kept going down first time around. It was really, really, really frustrating me. I put a lot of work into this, and when my internet or something doesn't want to work, something that I actually pay for doesn't want to work, starts upsetting me, because I can understand if my internet was for free. And he's complaining about free internet again. Well, no, I pay for my internet, and I pay for, I pay my way. You know what I'm saying? Nothing's been given to me. So, yeah. Anyways, okay, so we're getting A lot of reports from the ground. I'm getting a lot of people commenting. I've been speaking to a lot of people. Liberals right now in the riding here so far are winning, but don't hold your breath because that means nothing. It means nothing right now. Why does it mean nothing? I'll tell you why it means nothing. Because the Liberals were bleeding here in Eastern Canada. Let's go back to Eastern Canada here. Liberals are bleeding in Eastern Canada as more votes keep trickling in from different districts. You're seeing huge. This used to be all red back in the day. Now it's predominantly red, but lots of blue taking over. So you're seeing some of the bigger cities, and you're seeing the red just bounce in there. And then you got here St. John's, which is the biggest population in this entire riding, in the NDP, basically, like in NDP, believe it or not. So let's go over what we're looking at here. So total vote 170 is needed for a majority government. So Liberal is at 82, Conservatives at 54. Bloc Québécois at 13, beating out the NDP at 10, and the Green Party at 1. And the PPC still at 0. So Ghetto Wizard is in the house sitting here with Gemini King. Yo, Gemini, shout outs, buddy. So I am back. I put up a poll on my channel who wanted me to come back. A majority of people, almost everybody said to come back except 1 or 2 people. Guys, I need you to share this on your social media right now. Share this on your social media right now. People's Party of Canada's PPC. Guys, I need you guys to go right now to below this video and share this to anything. I don't care. Instagram. Share it to, I don't care. So these are the total seats right now. And it's only 1 seat won so far. Votes are still trickling in. And the Conservative Party is not too far behind now. At 30%, they were actually a lot worse before. They were, I think they were 22% behind, but now they're catching up. And this is it, guys. This is a big breaking decision right here. Is the bleeding right here? This bleeding in Eastern Canada that used to be all Liberal. You're seeing a lot of blue Conservative, and you're seeing Fredericton, the capital. The capital, Fredericton. The Green Party is basically winning that. Oh, it's won. It's checked off. It's checked off. It's checked off. So there's no other way anyone else could win it now. So right now, Genesia Atwin, the Green Party, won in her riding in the biggest city in Nova Scotia. Wow. Wow. Sitting at right now 7,820 votes. So she won. Genesia won this one, and that is upsetting the Liberals too because they're lost. Their major ridings are lost. Now, if you go into Newfoundland and Labrador to St. John's East, one of the biggest ridings there is won by Jack Harris for the NDP. So. Jacob Marin said, share it all over. Thanks, man. Mike, you serve up tough medicine every day. That's good, man. Thank you. Thank you so much. And, 2-term Trudeau? No, I don't think so, guys. No, not just too much bleeding right now in Eastern Canada. And this right here is a representation of a huge upset for the Liberal. Remember, this is all uninhabited here in this area, right? These areas are all uninhabited, right? So keep that in mind, folks. So let's go back into the Ontario-Quebec. We all know who won the Quebec ridings, and that was the Québécois. And it's going to fuel for a stronger referendum, so to say. Guys, I'm wearing my CPP jacket, okay? I want to thank everybody. Guys, come on. Share this out there. Let's get this out there, please. Share this on every social media right now. Go down to the bottom. You're going to see share. To share this thing to Facebook. Share it to Twitter. Share it to everything. Let's get this out there. Yeah, yo, bro, Gemini King, guys. Gemini King, get in touch with the King. He's in the comment section if you want him to make you a song or a jingle for your channel like he did the Gemini Crew Mike in the Night song. He created that song. So if you guys are interested, please go ahead and tell me what's going on there in that. So there's only one seat won so far. We got Moby. Let's see if Moby is back on right now. We had him earlier in the show knocking on doors, and it would be nice to hear from him what has been going on. And then we got the Raven here. I kind of missed this guy. Let me see if he picks up. I don't know if he's working tonight, but it'll be nice to hear from the Raven. It's ringing. No answer. I hope he's okay. So we got people. PPC doesn't have any shared all over, even in my LinkedIn. Yeah, nobody even goes on LinkedIn. That right there is devotion to the channel when you share on a page that nobody even goes to anymore. Woo! Thank you so much, Jacob. Okay, so I got my PPC jacket on, and look how dominating blue. The province of Lower Ontario, it's switching, some of them switching back to red. I can't believe Dufferin Caledon is going green, but it doesn't matter. It's this that matters here for the Ontario riding. Let's move a little bit further west. Damn, every time I try to move up the page, it keeps zooming this and out. All right, so you see the rest of Ontario going NDP, and then you're getting into right here, into Manitoba. These areas down here are the most important ridings here. And these areas here in the middle, across Highway 1, the Trans-Canada, are the biggest ridings here. And then you got your two ridings here. You got Edmonton and you got Calgary, and then you got British Columbia. You're seeing Central Canada being severely dominated by blue, like it usually does. And you're going to probably start seeing, as the votes start trickling in right now from Manitoba, you're going to start seeing more and more blue taking over. But the Liberals got his piece of the pie, just like it does every election. There's its red. But look at the blue bleeding out of Ontario and Nova Scotia. Halifax bleeding blue. What? Okay, so we got people here. We got Wolfen the Gamer in the house. We got KL3 in the house. We got Belinda Mercer in the house. Where am I on the map? Right here, on this side. I'm on the Pacific side. I am 2 hours and a half away from the Pacific Ocean. So Wolfen Gamer says 8:02 there. Yeah, polls are closing right now as we speak. And earlier, polls that closed earlier, or polls that saw no traffic coming in that closed, are sending in some results as they trickle in. And look how dominant the blue is here. And we're going to see where BC is going to go. BC might go Liberal because it is very heavily populated by Chinese, majority Chinese immigration. So we're going to see what happens with the whole BC swing vote, how it's going to go. But a lot of the Canadians that did left Vancouver for affordability issues, I'm one of them there. It's not affordability. I'm not spending $2 million on a crack shack. We all moved into the interior, lots of us. My entire block, my cul-de-sac, is everybody here is from Vancouver. You know? Someone's asking, Mike, just shared on MySpace. Yes, nobody even goes on that anymore. Woo! So I'm getting shared on platforms that's really good to see that people are going out of their way to get the Mike Martin's thing out there. Even if you're in Australia, guys, go ahead and share this for me. And out in Australia, let's get some people from down under in this to weigh in on their... So it looks like the blue is starting to dominate heavily right now. But guys, patience is a virtue. Patience is a virtue, my friends. Why? Because the East is bleeding blue. And that never happened before. It's always dominant red. And look at the major cities in Ontario down here by New York State and Michigan State. Look at them. They're blue. That's where all the population lives. Right here. Oh my God. Yeah, Quebecois. And we got, we got a portion of Quebec that just changed Liberal. Am I drunk? Hold on. Am I drunk here? Did I just see that? Oh my goodness. It looks like we got a portion here that just switched over to Liberal. It's the AU James Nunavik. It's not Nunavut. Nunavik Bayou region has went there. And, yeah, we're seeing hard blue right now in central Canada, especially Alberta. You're going to see Alberta wanting the Liberals out of there. You're seeing Alberta going hard with the blue, and you're seeing Saskatoon going hard with the blue. Regina, sorry. And Manitoba, the major cities in Manitoba that actually mean anything, right here at the bottom, are actually the ones you want to win. Yeah, let's go back here. Ontario is becoming very blue, and a lot of Liberals might be pooping in their pants. But once you get over to Quebec, you're getting a little bit of a mismatch here. You're getting a lot of Quebecois disappearing here and turning red to Liberal. Oh my goodness. Down with the Reds, guys. Okay, my transmission again is being obstructed by some reason. I'm not sure why. And I can't get a stream going tonight, man. I got a lot of streams on the weekends. Everything's fine. But tonight, for some reason, me talking about politics, the internet just doesn't want me on here tonight. It's YouTube allocating their space to more important channels. LOL, Mike is into the Reds. No, I'm not. Down with the Reds, guys. We want Liberals out. I'm wearing my blue jacket now tonight because the PPC or the Conservative, anything but Liberal. So we got here these provinces that mean a lot. It's the swing, the BC. You got a lot of ridings there. Let's go down and see who's riding in the Vancouver area here. Let's go to Vancouver. Vancouver. All right. Ping Chan. IND Party. Kenny Chiu. Conservative. Nicolasi Green. And then let's go up here. Wei Young. Harjit Sujan. Alian Diung. Then here we got Kimball Kariuo, Tamara Tagret, Lawrence Taylor. And then we go over here to the Vancouver Quadra. Let's go up here where a lot of the voters... No, further down. I'm going to go down here where you get a lot of big voting blocks. Ping Chan. Kenny Chiu. Hold on, I think I read that one. Hold on. Oh, we got all kinds here. This is all broken down, guys. We're going to go over this once we start getting some sort of a feedback. So right now, Liberals are leading, but guys, nobody panic, okay? Nobody panic here. Because it's always like that in the beginning. Because votes are still tallying in. All we need is a couple of these ones here that are still bringing in some of the votes to actually... See, they're really close here. Some of them are pretty close to actually tally up a few other centers that still didn't get recorded books. But this is bleeding right here, blue, and this is not what the Liberals expected. So aggregation against seats... Liberal Party is still at 1 seat. Let me refresh this and see if we can get something more up to date here. Still sitting at a seat. It's anyone's game right now still. Very disappointed that PPC is not PPC is not picking up a bit in numbers, but we'll just wait for the numbers to start floating back in here. Let me double check here. Wolf the Gamer says, if the Liberals, if we get Liberals, I'll throw myself out the window. Ready for the blue wave, says TJH. Blue wave. Woo! The blue wave, people. Yeah, we're getting, again, we're getting disruptions again in the transmission. Man, anytime I reach a healthy number, I was up to 150, boom, out like a light. And that's good for one single independent little channel like mine. If I collaborated and joined other channels, I'd probably be flying. I'll probably be flying right now in the viewership. But you know what? I like to stay independent and get people on and giving me their little thing. You know, so... All right, let's see. Oh, Supreme Cannon's there. Let me see if he wants to talk with us for a little bit. Let's see if Supreme Cannon wants to come on the phone. Supreme, you there, buddy? Supreme? Supreme? We lost him. We lost Supreme Cannon, guys. He's getting bad internet up there. I'm not getting bad internet because my internet's actually very good. My problem is the allocation of bandwidth that YouTube allocates, right? My channel's been shadow banned for ages, right? So... Who the hell is this?
Hola, carnal. How you doing?
Hey, hola, carnal. ¿Cómo estás?
Muy bien, amigo.
Good. Sounds like your Spanish is improving.
Well, getting there.
Did you see my first transmission burn down in fire?
Yes, I caught the last 15, 20 minutes of it. Yeah,
I was mad, man.
Oh, it's brutal. Every server in Canada is probably burning red hot right now. It's probably just going to happen. And someone mentioned in here, too, YouTube is probably giving all their resources to all the big networks anyway.
Oh, they are. They're not going to give their resources to a little guy like Mike Martin's, a little flash. But I'm not doing too bad as a single channel, eh?
Oh, you're doing fine.
I went on to watch other live streams, and there's a lot of calibration. There's like 4 channels in one.
Yeah.
And they got a lot of views. They're getting like 4, 5, 6, 7, 800 views, right? Up to 1,000 views, live views. But unfortunately, I like to stay independent like this in a way where I get you guys on too. Because you guys actually form a bigger part of the channel than just getting on other bigger channels to try to boost my ratings, right?
Well, absolutely. Well, you got people calling in from all over the world, and that's great. That's what we want.
Well, yeah, you saw how many people called in earlier. I got a guy from Colombia. I had a guy from Toronto, another guy from Barrie, Ontario, another guy from Vancouver, another guy from, right?
Yeah. You got a major expat community seems to be tuning into your channel too. That's good. That's what we want. You want global coverage. I mean, in the end, it may not even be about the subscribers. It's about the actual information that you can derive from it, right? Like we can all sit around and talk among ourselves and talk ourselves into doom here about anything under the sun, but we need to see what's really going on in the rest of the world. Canada, North America isn't the world. American politics isn't the world. Things are bad, but they're not. It ain't over yet. There's a fight.
Oh, okay. So before we kick off the election talk here, I just wanted to say thank you for coming on, guys. Get to the bottom of this video here and click the share button, a little arrow to the right. Share this transmission as being live right now, guys. Please, even if you're on MySpace, friggin' Facebook, Twitter, I don't care. Just share it now. Share this transmission. Let people know that I'm live. Okay, Supreme Cannon. We're seeing something that we haven't seen in many oh, we got a little gray. We got a tie. We got a tie in Notre Dame. Oh, my God. Okay, so what is happening here, Supreme? Let me fill you in on what I'm seeing that's happening. Eastern Canada is seeing a lot of blue they've never seen before. It's usually mono red everywhere in Eastern Canada. We're seeing a lot of people walking away from the Liberal Party. Now, on the coast of Bays in central Notre Dame area, we got ourselves a tie.
Yeah, well, the thing is that all they're showing you right now is the votes as they're being recorded.
Right, as
Okay,
they're being
so
transmitted or sent to by the offices.
yeah, so it's going to be back and forth until the final totals are in, and even then, they can't declare until all the votes are in. There's a blackout for that. I see a couple of guys have said CP24 is declared. Well, we'll see.
No, okay, guys.
They're not even allowed to do that.
Guys, let me tell you what's going on here. Listen, let me explain how the aggregation works on this. The Liberals are down already 7 or 9 seats because originally when we started this transmission, the Liberals had 177 seats, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, but they were down already. So they're already down like 9 seats from the start of Eastern Canada.
Yeah, and they're certainly not going to pick up any in Western Canada. I mean, they won't get any new ones. If anything, the island and the Lower Mainland, they're more likely to go NDP or Green. I don't think out in the Abbotsford and Langley, out in that way, farm country, right? Like they're pretty reliable. They voted. I mean, there were a lot of solid Reform Party seats back in the 90s. Mm-hmm. Right. And that's the thing, too. The people on here, if the People's Party doesn't get a seat this time, don't despair. The important thing is they get 1 million or 2 million votes. They have a support base. They've got the financial resources. Like the Reform Party started in 1997. Okay, I joined up in 1990. Well, it took the 1993 election. They went from 0 to 52 or 54 seats or something like that in one election, and basically the West was solid green until after the 2000 election when they made a deal. Harper and Peter Mackay made a deal and formed the new Conservative Party, and kind of brought everybody back together. So it's not. Yeah, don't fret, guys.
Okay, guys, we're heading to Ontario now. It looks like in the Caledon region, it looks like it's heavily Conservative coming in. We got the Halton Hills region, Conservative coming in. Glanbrook region, Conservative coming in. Niagara West region, Conservative coming in. This is pretty big of blue in Ontario. So The Liberals should be shaking in their pants because they're not going to get a majority government anymore. There's no way they're going to get a majority government anymore.
It's tight. I think I think you need 150 or 155 seats to get a majority.
Right.
Like it was a comfortable majority with an extra 15, 20 seats or something like that. But yeah, if they lose 20 seats, give or take, yeah, it'll be a minority. We'll see how the NDP does. I mean, the guy has said if
NDP sitting at 20 right now. But these are just local results. So Liberals winning with 137, Conservative 101. The Bloc Québécois 32, beating out the New Democratic Party at 20, and the Green Party at 1, and the PPC still at 0. Oh, we lost Supreme. Yeah, it's not over. Harold Gnome, it's not over, Harold. Believe me, it's not over, buddy. We lost Supreme Cannon again. We keep losing the poor guy. He's something's wrong with his connection. It's been like this back and forth with him. I'm not sure if we got Dallas Hills here. I want to see if he's on right now. Let me call Dallas Hills. Oh, we're seeing a lot of blue here on the islands here. This is very uncommon. This is very, very uncommon to see. This is not over till it's over. Look at that. Liberals lost one and the Conservatives got one back. It's not over, guys, because now we're tallying up Eastern Canada. You're going to have a huge red influx. Ooh, NDP dominating this region, and you got a bit of Liberals spilling into northeast, Fort McMurray area. I don't believe that's going to stay red for much longer, only for the sake of what happened up in Fort McMurray a year and a half ago. So All right, who we got here? We got to get, let's see if we can get Steve in here if he's got time. I'm not sure if he's available. Guys, get on your social media and share this. I don't care.
Who the hell is this?
Steve, what's up, buddy?
No way.
Are you watching the elections?
I certainly am.
Okay, well we've been running. I ran a couple hours at the beginning of the launch, and then I took an hour break, and I'm back again.
Yep.
And we are looking at the Eastern Canada bleeding blue. What is going on? It's always red. Why is Nova Scotia and Halifax going blue all of a sudden?
I don't know, but it really, really, really needs to go blue because as it sits right now, the Liberals have 143 seats in real time. Conservatives have 105. However, that said, the Bloc has basically picked up 19 seats. The Conservative have picked up 18 seats. And the Liberals have lost 23 seats.
Right.
So at this point, the Liberals really need to slow down because they're within, 30 seats or less of a majority government.
Okay.
And that's definitely what we do not want. I know that CP24 has declared a Liberal minority, but then they're bought and paid for by the Liberals. So that said, it's going to be interesting. They just actually went ahead and had the Milton Liberal candidate on, and he's neck and neck with the Conservatives. So no doubt that should be interesting. But make no mistake, the Liberals have lost 20 seats. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah. But here it is, the share and the count right now, votes that have come in. This was updated 25 seconds ago. 37.2% to the Liberal Party, 629,000 votes, with Conservatives in second place with 31.3%, trailing behind by 6 points, 529,000 votes, trailing by 100,000 votes, and the New Democratic Party at 14.6%, Green Party at 8.8%, Bloc Québécois at 5.8%, and the People's Party of Canada sitting at 1.5%.
Indeed. So there's a considerable amount to take into consideration here, but the night is still young. It's one of those things where the polls have, some of these polls have just started counting, for God's sakes. And there's 220 polls, and 8 polls have been counted. Anyhow, it's going to be interesting. No doubt, it's going to be a minority government, and we'll wait and see how the rest of the night folds up. I'd be very surprised if it went majority Liberal. I'm probably going to say that it's going to be a minority Liberal at best.
Mm-hmm.
But the Conservatives need to start picking up some seats because they've been stagnant at 103 for the last 15 or 20 minutes in terms of poll counting.
Mm-hmm.
I think Brampton East went Conservative, so that's really good.
Yeah, I was looking at that earlier. Brampton's going to go heavy Conservative this year, and I'm looking here at Caledon's heavy Conservative, and I'm looking at little parts of the GTA area now that were all red are starting to pick up blue, like Markham Unionville's picking up blue, Aurora, Oak Ridges, Richmond Hill picking up blue, Thornhill picking up blue, Brampton South picking up blue, Wellington, Halton Hills picking up blue, Oshawa picking up blue, so...
Yep. So we'll wait and see what happens. This is pretty interesting. Right now, the Liberals have 149 seats.
Right.
Conservatives have 102. So it's one of those things where all we can do is hope for the best, because a Liberal majority government will do nothing but harm the Canadian proper.
Well, the problem is, I'm kind of scared of BC. BC might be the first time in a long time that it might go heavily red. It's sitting orange right now, but there's only a few polls that went in. But all right, we're starting to getting in some numbers from the British Columbia here. We are getting numbers in from BC, but Alberta, like I said, is heavily blue, like we expected, and the bigger cities in Saskatoon are the bigger cities in Manitoba and Saskatoon are all blue, which we need because that's where all the votes are coming from. And it looks like some of the bigger cities in Ontario are starting to pick up blue right now. And you got a lot of the islands there in Nova Scotia and in Newfoundland, Labrador that are jumping between red and blue back and forth.
Yeah, I'm starting to see that, so we'll see how it goes. Yeah, Thornhill actually went conservative, so that's really good. So we'll wait and see what happens. And yeah, it looks like Vaughan Woodbridge is going to go Liberal. Whitby is more than likely going to go Liberal.
Mm-hmm.
But York Simcoe looks like it's probably going to go Conservative.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. And as well as Barrie. Barrie and Barrie and Innisfil is tied right now. So we'll see what happens. But we all knew that Hamilton Center was going to go NDP for sure, right?
Right. So we got a slew of orange coming out of British Columbia, a little touch of blue in the Prince George Caribou area. In Kamloops, Thompson, Caribou, that's where I am. I'm in Thompson, Nicola, that's where I am. And it's coming out red for Liberal.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, they're not. They're just they're pretty close to the Conservatives.
Okay.
Yeah. So where I'm at, it's coming out red. It could have been. It could have been the election meddling by Obama.
Quite possibly.
Obama comes in. I like Justin Trudeau. I like working with Justin Trudeau, and then everyone's, oh my God, Obama thinks so too. You know.
Yeah. No kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll wait and see. Well, Conservatives are 104. That's good. I want to see that number rise. Liberals have lost a couple of seats, so that's good. The Bloc is actually
they've lost a couple of seats out in the Atlantic Canada. That never happened.
Yeah, that's it. That's interesting. That's for sure.
And you know who won? You know who's winning right now? St. John's.
Okay.
NDP.
Wow.
St. John's East and St. John's South, Mount Pearl. They're both won by NDP.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyways, people in the comments are pretty... Yeah, that's Steve guy. Steve the plumber's on the show. I finally got him back on. He's probably going to start coming on more on Mike in the Night if the Liberal Party ends up winning this. Yeah.
Well, it's going to be interesting how this all plays out.
Someone's asking about Mississauga New Market. Okay, I'm going to go right there right now. And I'm going to go there right now. Mississauga New Market. Mississauga is all Liberal. Mississauga Lakeshore Liberal. Malton, Mississauga Liberal. Brampton South Liberal. Oakville Liberal. Lakeshore again Liberal, and it's all red, but everything all around it is surrounded by blue. Hopefully the bigger ridings will be won by the blue.
Yeah, so we'll wait and see what happens. It's as it sits right now, the Liberals have lost 18 seats and the Conservatives have picked up 13. And in real time, that basically, with the Bloc picking up 23 seats. The NDP have lost 17 seats. At this point, actually, they've lost 18 seats now. So this is a very, very close run. The Liberals are at 36%. The Conservatives are at 32%. Mm-hmm. So, ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax. It's going to be a fun night.
Well, look, parts of Quebec are going dark blue now. They're going Conservative now from Quebecois.
That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
I know. Just relax. All right, Stevie, I'm going to let you do your thing. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm doing well. How are you doing, Mike?
Oh, I'm doing fine, man. I was kind of choked. I was doing a marathon earlier, and then my internet just crashed and burned. It wasn't my internet. It's because what YouTube is doing, they're allocating people's they're allocating it to more important channels.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they want to allocate all their resources, allocate their bandwidth to channels about pouring gravy down their pants. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I hear you, Mike. It's gonna be interesting to see how everything kind of sort of turns out. But at this point, we'll see where the night goes, and feel free to check back in with me a little bit later on if you wish. But good to be with you, Mike. Take care.
Thanks,
Talk
brother.
soon.
God bless. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
All right, so we got that. We got Buddy wants to come on the show here. We got Dallas. Let's see if we can get Dallas here on the show from Eastern Canada here. No connection to Dallas again. Let's see if we can get back with let's see if we can get Supreme Cannon back on real quick here. If he gets a minute here, come back on the show. Yeah, we're not getting Supreme either. Supreme isn't getting in either. Getting that sonar. Once you get that sonar beep, it means that you are not getting... the person is not online. The Raven rings out, but he doesn't pick up. No, we're not getting the Raven on. Working on it. Come on, let's go. Election discussion. Can you call into the show? Working on it. Come on, let's go. We already had the Lost Canuck on the show. I think he's up watching the elections right now. We got Moby in Ontario. Moby is basically following things. He's a conservative. He runs in the Conservative Party. He's already ran in a few elections himself, running in his area there, in his zone. I'm on... You gotta use Skype. You've called in before. Anyways, okay, so here we go, guys. Let's refresh this, get a fresh look at this. So the difference is, so right now, the Liberals have lost 32 seats, according to this. And like Steve just said, and the Conservative Party are up 12 seats. Liberals started 7 seats down when Eastern Canada basically started to trickle in their votes. We got this pattern of blue here that we've never seen before in Eastern Canada. It's always blood red, and we got the 2 biggest cities in Newfoundland voting NDP. The 2 biggest ones right here. For now. Okay, we got Rhoda in the house. Yo, working on it. What's up?
How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. So, guys, we got Rhoda on the phone from Alberta, from Edmonton, and she's been on the show many times. Okay, Rhoda, what's going on? Are you feeling any election vibes there in Alberta?
I'm thinking that the Liberal guy is going to win. Trudeau's going to win.
Oh, that's dangerous talk in some parts.
I'm thinking he's going to win. Let me lower the volume because I'm watching you on TV too.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, my writing is NDP. I'm in Old Strathcona, but our votes went to NDP because we're very liberal here.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm looking at 32%, I'm scared because, all the jobs are on the hook, right?
Oh, Edmonton Strathcona. It is sitting NDP at the moment. Let me see how many polls came in real quick here. So polls that came in are... Oh, it's tied. Only 400 of 198 polls have reported.
Oh, I voted like 2.5 weeks ago, October 2nd.
Yeah, so 4 of 198 polls have been sent in. So we got a lot of time to go. Right now,
we have a lot of time.
The NDP and Conservative Party are neck and neck.
Does it go... How long does the election go for? Until midnight tonight?
Well, votes are going to be counted in from here in my time by 10 p.m. my time. So another 2.5 hours of my time here. Oh,
Two and a
there
half
you go.
hours.
There you go. You just went conservative. 9/11.
Who went conservative?
You did.
Oh,
Right now, as you're on the
9/11.
phone with me, went to
What website are you
9/11,
on?
and McPherson went down to 888.
What website are you on?
I'm on. Hold on, I'll tell you. It's called Saltwire Network.
Good, good. That's good. I voted conservative, even though I knew I prefer Bernier,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think he had a chance to win.
Yeah, Maxime
Saltwire,
Bernier's got the right attitude. Even if he's lying about what he wants to do, at least he knows what needs to be done.
Saltwire elections.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Saltwire.
he's not lying. I don't think he's. I just
No,
think
no,
he
no.
has
Even if
better
he is
ideas.
lying, I like his lies. At least, even if he is lying, let's say. It sounds like it's a
Yes.
better plan than all the other guys.
I don't think Shear even has a plan. He has no life when he talks.
Yeah, it sounds like
He's,
he sounds very very controlled, right?
I feel like he needs a better person to control him. He needs to talk to Harper or something, or Bernier, because he has no life in him, and I'm almost prepared for us conservatives to lose.
Okay, you know
'Cause-
what? Like Alberta is dark blue right now, covered since that one Strathcona went through that we just talked about live. That's all.
Yeah.
Your entire province is completely blue, and the major cities in Manitoba and in Saskatchewan, Regina,
Mhm.
are all the major cities are all blue.
Oh wow,
Yeah, and we're
Good.
seeing right now Ontario bluing out right now as we speak. So
Nice.
Liberals are
People are
down
tired of
32
me.
seats, and it looks like right now as we're speaking, oh yeah, Ontario's bluing right out. All we need is these little cities here in the downtown core to start turning blue. Thornhill just went blue. Markham just went blue, and Markham Unionville went blue right now in Ontario. And these are big ridings because lots of people go out and vote there.
I can't wait. We just need more jobs. More jobs. Like if the conservatives get in, we'll have way more work.
So, did you see that video I did? I know you did because you saw the comments about Edmonton homeless crisis.
Yeah, yeah. I saw that. I started watching some videos about the homeless in Edmonton. I saw one guy going around giving interviews,
Yeah.
and I would be too afraid to do that. He went all the way down. He went near my house, all the way down the river valley. Started talking to people. It's scary, and I think because the economy's shit, like labor type people and lower end type jobs, even waitresses and customer service jobs are gone.
Mm-hmm.
So like, where are you gonna go? So they went to go live in the park.
Yeah. Yep, that's true.
I want out of it. Way I need to go to St. Albert or somewhere safer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hope they win. I really hope they do. Like everyone at work was talking about it. People were getting mad about it because some people were saying that Trudeau should stay in, and there was a huge fight at work about it. But everyone in the oil fields, like I think about 99% of the people I work with, because I'm a first year Boilermaker.
Mm-hmm.
They're all conservative because everything depends on oil. So,
Well, if you're a
We need
Boilermaker, you're conservative.
well, I've always been conservative.
No, but I'm saying
I was a wage
if you're a
conservative,
tradesperson,
yeah.
you're a blue collar, you're always going to be conservative no matter what. I'm conservative
Yes, but
too.
there's
I'm
a lot of
100%
liberal.
conservative.
There's a lot of. I work with liberal people. I work with some liberal people, liberal tradesmen, and it's funny because you know what? They came from Quebec. They flew in from Quebec to get work.
Mhm.
So, Alberta, but yeah, I've met some liberal conservatives, and I actually, funny story. I was chewed out by a couple of my girlfriends for voting conservative because I voted early and I voted conservative, and she's like, "Why would you do that? They hate our people." I'm like, "What do you mean our people?" It's like they hate immigrants, this and that. No. I'm like, no. It's about the work. When there's work, they start importing people from all over the world. You saw
Mhm.
that happen before, right? When there was a boom, there was everyone from Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, everyone was pouring in to get to work. Now it's like there's nothing. And so I was chewed out for voting. And then I asked my friend, well, hey, who'd you vote for? And she's like, I didn't vote. Doesn't matter. My vote doesn't matter. I'm like, if your vote doesn't matter, why are you chewing me out?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but they were trying to whip me because, cuss me out because I voted conservative as a black woman. And someone else heard that I did that, and then she chewed me out, called me a self-hater. Like, I hate my skin color because I voted conservative. Like, this sounds so... I guess it's not just American, huh?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
Almost
I
like
got to hear, guys, Liberal Party has down 33 seats from their
that's
160, whatever, 40, 50, 60, 73, 70, 77. So they're down 33 seats. And the Conservative Party are up 20 seats right now. They're sitting at 117. Oh! What is the Yukon? The Yukon just went blue. And following the Yukon turning blue, Prince George Peace River went blue. Bulky Valley went blue in BC, Northwest BC. Caribou Prince George went blue. Kamloops Thompson, where I'm in, went blue. And Okanagan went blue. And Mission and Fraser Canyon went blue. And it looks like BC swinging completely blue.
Holy. BC completely blue? That's almost
There's
impossible.
a bit of yellow there on the North Island and Powell River. That's NDP. And then you got South Okanagan and the West Kootenays. That is NDP. But that's all you got for now. Right now, guys, we're sitting on 154 of 338 ridings have been called. 3,281,000 votes have been counted so far. The number is 3,281,000 have been counted. 155 ridings have been confirmed as of now.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. So still close. Not a win yet, but close.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They have 34% of the vote, and Conservative has 32.99.
But it's kind of good because Conservatives used to have 95 seats. They're at 119 now.
That's a big... Yeah.
And the Bloc Québécois, the Bloc Québécois had 10 seats, or 10, and they have 36 today. They're up 26.
Wow.
And the NDP's down 18 seats.
PPC has 0.
Yeah, they got 0 so far.
That's sad. Bloc Québécois is doing better than PPC. That's terrible.
Yeah. Oh, it's really entertaining to watch this thing just change color like this in front of your eyes. Very.
Yeah. Do you think they would win? Okay, Mike, tell me. Do you think they're going to win, the Conservatives?
Right now it's very close because they're at 118. The Liberals are down 33 seats. The Conservatives could still pull. It's not going to be a landslide. It's just Conservatives might just walk up the door with a victory, but I don't know. They might walk.
No,
well, we're still waiting. There's only 165 of 338 ridings called for. That's 3.488 million 3.4 million votes counted so far.
That's it.
That's all that's been counted.
More people should be voting.
Yep, because that's going to make that's obviously going to change the sway of the future of the country, right?
Yeah, but can you imagine being chewed out for voting the wrong way?
Yeah.
Because of your skin color? That's disgusting.
It's that's disgusting. You know that.
That is disgusting. So Quebec, blue. Ontario they got red. When I'm looking at it, it says
nope. Go to Southern Ontario where everyone lives. It's all blue.
Kingston, blue. Yeah.
Guys, get on there and if you guys could, if you're on watching this, go below me here in this transmission and share this. I don't care on any friggin' social media, even share it on MySpace. I don't care. Share this on there. Let's get more people on this discussion here. We've got a lot of Canadians on here. Oh no, they're starting to shut down the stream again.
Yeah, Edmonton Alberta is all blue except for the middle part where it says Strathcona. Here, it's still orange.
Did it switch back? Let me see.
Yeah, it's orange.
Oh, it did. It switched back. Let me go back and see because the polling stations are coming back in still. Yeah, it
Yeah,
went
and
back to
Strathcona.
orange. No, you're right. It went back to orange.
Yeah, the most expensive place to live for Strathcona, that's Sherwood Park. When I looked it up, it's Sherwood Park. And that probably is the most expensive place to live.
Well, it looks like my transmission's lagging again. Guys, be patient in the comments, guys. Please, I know my transmission's lagging. There's nothing I could do. Ever when I get to 100 people watching, 120, it shuts me right down.
Well, so Labrador and Nova Scotia, they like liberal. I don't know why they like liberal.
They've been like this for the last 100 years.
But they come work in Alberta to survive, so I don't know what's wrong with them.
Yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. They want to keep it liberal, I guess. You know that 1 out of 3 homes in these cities now in on these islands, in Newfoundland, Labrador, Halifax, all these areas. You know that 1 in 3 homes are empty, owned by foreign investors, eh?
Wow.
They're having a huge time there finding the rental vacancies are like 0% there in those areas.
Huh.
Yeah, in PEI in Charlottetown, in the capital of Prince Edward Island, there's like everything's empty. Like everything's owned by investors.
Interesting. And where are the rest of the people?
What do you mean the rest
Homeless?
of the rest of the people? No, they're there. They're just crammed into houses. Like that guy that I had on the show in the first part. He told me there's people in 2-bedroom apartments with 14 people living in there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But what surprises me is everyone from Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, Labrador, and Prince Edward Island, they all work in Alberta. They all work in the camp that I worked in. Like every time I go to working camp, you meet all those people, and I wonder if there is a some kind of government funding to hire those people.
I have no idea.
I betcha.
Yeah, especially because those parts of Canada, they're running out of hard people that want to get their hands, the blue collar workers, right?
Yeah.
So they're trying to get them in from out east now. But yeah, like you said, right? So it looks like St. John's and Mount Pearl in Nova Scotia is won by the NDP. Wow, I can't believe the highest populated part of New Brunswick is won by the NDP. Wow.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in shock. They're the first ones to fly in to work in Alberta.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Oops, I'm in Europe.
So my hometown Montreal. My hometown Montreal. They're probably what are they? NDP or Liberal.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone I know will come here for work. Hey, I just hope they win. Oh my God.
Yeah, it'll be a big difference if the Conservatives could take this somehow, some way. It would be Yeah, but I think the Conservatives could team up with the Bloc Québécois because the Bloc Québécois hates the Liberals, right?
Yeah, but the Bloc Québécois wants everyone speaking French, and they want to make sure that the French people from Quebec get a fair shot at work, even though they don't speak English.
Yeah, I understand that, but I rather
which I understand that too because it's fair for everyone to get a chance at work, but. There was a huge workplace injury that happened to me that happened at work, and it was because someone didn't speak the language well enough.
Oh, and yeah, you told me. Yeah, you told me about this. Yeah,
from Quebec.
Yeah,
and he couldn't move fast enough to get out of the way. Like literally, everyone has moved. He wasn't moving, and he got hit. And then when he fell down, he was still speaking French, and we needed to get someone who spoke French, and they got me.
Wow.
Yeah. He was an older man, but still, like, it's what happens when you get people who don't speak the language. Because my foreman doesn't speak French. I happen to speak French. It's like, well, you're saying, get the hell out of the way, move the other way. And then you got some French guy just walking around and he got hit. So, but it wasn't big. It was just a couple of stitches.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
not too big.
my
Oh,
hometown.
Liberals just jumped to 150 right now. 170 is needed for a majority government.
Oh, they jumped to 150. Oh my God! So they're winning. Okay, well, my hometown, Pierrefonds, Dollard-des-Rameaux, Montreal, they're liberal, like 4,500 liberal.
Mm-hmm.
That's terrible.
Oh, man.
Oh, liberals jumped to 150.
Yeah, I said that, yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah. And you need 170 for the majority government? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. But the Conservatives are gaining more seats. They're up 23. They're at 118 current standing. NDP even fell further. They lost 15 seats.
So there's 34% of the vote liberal and 33.45 conservative. 33 point. So you need the 170. So that's the winning number.
170 is the leading needed for a majority government.
Oh, I think liberals got the majority government.
It's scary.
Oh my God! I sound doom and gloom, but people actually believe in this global warming nonsense and all the other nonsense that's been going on.
Well, if global warming is real, according to Al Gore, Florida should be 3 feet underwater.
Yeah, but kids, like younger people, like people when they're 21, 22, 18, they believe in this stuff, and they were happy when Greta came to protest and block traffic and here in Edmonton. Did not care. So, and that would probably help them vote liberal.
Patrick O'Shea is asking, Mike, what do you think about vote rigging? It happens. It does happen. A lot of countries have admitted that their machines have defaulted or have made mistakes and errors, right? But it's usually for one side, because I know the Democrats, like every time in some city, I think it was in Pittsburgh or it was in I can't remember where it was. Or was Philadelphia. Every time anyone voted for the Democrats, okay, in that region, and they pressed to vote, they would get 7 votes to the Democrats every time.
That's terrible.
Yeah, and things like that happened. You know what I'm saying? And then all the dead people voted and stuff. A lot of dead people actually voted in the last election for the Democrats, and they still lost.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Oh, 177. Sorry, 150, 150, and the Conservatives jumped up to 117, almost 120. And if the Quebecois could keep its head above water, I think the Quebecois with the Conservatives could form an oath.
You think so? You think they would actually do that?
Yeah, but then the Liberals and the NDP would just form together. But the Liberals are down. The NDP's down. They only got 24 seats.
I don't think the Bloc Québécois would form with Conservatives. But what do I know?
No, I think you are 100% right. 100% right.
I think it's probably more likely that Trump buys Alberta than the Bloc Québécois forms with the Conservatives. Yeah. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, it would be. Guys, if you're watching this transmission, please go ahead and share it, please, to any social media platform you got there. I don't care which one. Even if you share it on MySpace. Come on, guys, get it out there. Let's get this transmission out there. Oh, man, I'm broken, man. I'm pretty broken here watching this. This is pretty sad. So, 152 to 118. If Liberals get a majority government, man, I don't know, man. It's going to be... Oh, help me, God, please. Yeah. All right, Rhoda, I'm going to kick you off the channel. You've been on here for 20 minutes, and that's pretty good. That's one of the longest times you've been on.
And I haven't said much. I'm just watching the website.
Let's do a Dedmonton video sometime if you can, maybe on Next week, maybe when
Yes.
you get some time during the week, let's just make a video, me and you talking non-live, talking about kind of like what's happening in Edmonton, what you feel Edmonton is headed. I want to do an Edmonton video with you, if that's okay.
By the way, before we let you go, I wish Greta would have came to the homeless shelter, to the homeless encampment in Edmonton when she came, but she didn't want to do that. Let them know global warming is happening when they're sleeping outside.
Yeah. Global warming at minus 20 degrees, right?
Yeah, I find it hypocritical that she'd even go to Fort McMurray and the chief would go meet with her and no one brought food to the food bank.
Yeah.
Like, she's got millions of dollars probably.
Yeah.
You just give some money to those people who can't eat, and then they can get the solar power roofs or whatever economy friendly cars instead of flying private everywhere. I don't know how she flies, but anyways, yeah. All right, I'll let you go. You have a good night. Let's hope they win.
Thanks for calling, working on it. I appreciate you taking your time to coming out.
All right.
Thank you. All right, guys. That's Rhoda working on it from Dedmonton, Strathcona, Alberta. So we'll be doing a show with her. I'll be doing a show with her maybe next week to kind of discuss what's happening in Dedmonton and what is happening with the job situation there. Let's see who we got here. We got Steve on the show. Try getting Owen. Owen is at home now watching this. We just spoke to Rhoda. We got Supreme Cannon on. We got Dallas Hills. I've been trying to call him too. He's got his own channel. We got Gunter26. I think he wants to come on. Well, this was hours ago. He wanted to come on the show. We got a lot of people in Australia watching this too, believe it or not. In New Zealand watching this. And guys, share this. Get this damn thing out there. Come on. Oh, man. This is very hard to digest, guys. Here it is, guys. Let's look at Google Elections Canada. What is happening here? So this is updated live. And this is the live update, 7:56 p.m. Pacific time. But we are not getting any updates on this one. This is the very important one here from Google. Man, but the Conservatives are just right behind. They're just right behind them. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about this. Fake news section of Elections Act faces a charter challenge. Guys, let me know what you think of this. Any Canadian Bill C-76, a package of election-related amendments passed late last year, it forbids falsely saying that a political figure was broken a law or has been charged with breaking a law or is being investigated, making false statements about a political figure citizenship, place of birth, education, professional qualifications, or membership in a group. Breaking the law could lead up to 5 years in prison or a $50,000 fine. So basically, this is for Canadian citizens that if you go against, you're going to see a lot of Americans starting YouTube or mainstream channels, or just not mainstream, social media channels from south of the border to help start defending the Canadians up here. Because this law wouldn't affect them. So we got, let's see if we could get, we're going to try Dallas, get him back a few times. And he ain't picking up, so he's probably live on his channel. A lot of people live on their channels right now, you know what I'm saying? All right, guys. Get on your social media and share this, man. All right, I don't like this. This really pissed me off earlier. It's like a lot of Europeans looking at the door right now. Lots of Europeans. I have a friend in Eastern Canada that processes tickets. And he's telling me lots of Europeans are jumping on the plane and not coming back to Canada, buying one-way tickets to Portugal, Spain, Greece, Italy, England. They're all going back. And they have family there or something, and they're going to restart back in Europe. Okay, we got Supreme Canada calling in. Supreme, what's up, buddy?
Hey, I just rebooted, pal.
Okay, I had to take a break earlier. My transmission kept crashing and burning. And
I heard that,
every time I get to X amount of people on the channel, it always cuts me off.
Yeah, it's a pain. They limit their bandwidth probably for the major channels. They've only got so much to go around, I guess.
All right, now, without swearing or freaking out, breaking anything, can you tell me what
Okay.
this bill C-76 means? That basically they're trying to pass this bill here. It's been in reading and it's been in I guess ready to put into law. That basically breaking the law of about saying false statements about politicians or place of birth, education, or professional qualifications or membership in a group. Breaking the law could lead up to 5 years in prison or $50,000 fine.
That's that fake news bill.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're trying to keep Rebel, and they're trying to keep these other True North. They're just trying to keep them from getting to participate. They want a chance to shut them down. I mean, Global, CBC, CTV. It's pretty obvious where they lean, and especially the CBC. I mean, those debates were pathetic. They were just yelling at some of them. It was ridiculous. Like, they don't even hide it, right? Mm-hmm. We don't have a Fox News here. At least
because it gets shut down.
Well, it gets shut down. That's right. That's what happens. So you've got Rebel News Media and you've got True North. You've got a couple of smaller ones, and they're mostly on YouTube. I haven't seen the Rebel stream tonight, but it's probably going to do better than most of the big city mainstream channels. Mm-hmm. Unless their bandwidth is being choked too. It's so obvious what's going on, and everybody sees it, but they're still in that zone where, okay, we know you see it, but we don't care. We're going to do it anyway. So
why is everyone so up into this whole global warming crap?
Because their lives are too easy. Virtue. The thing about virtue signaling, the thing about that kind of thing is, it makes you feel like you're doing something important by protesting it.
Yeah.
Well, Solid Extra, there's no demand for a Fox News. Dude, no one's had a chance to try it. Rebel News Media lives entirely on donations, and they're doing fine. They've managed to fight off all challenges so far. In the zone where half of Canada lives, between Windsor and Quebec City, probably not, but the rest of Canada, definitely.
Mono Job is saying, well, how do I see elections? You're going to have to go on YouTube here, and then you're going to click on YouTube, and then you're going to go to the elections here, and you could watch the elections live on YouTube, actually.
Yeah, Andre Nicotina, I take back what I said about Chinese in Richmond. The Chinese are more conservative than white yuppies in Vancouver. Maybe Solid Extra, I don't know. I couldn't verify that. Mm-hmm. Well, the Chinese, especially the ones that are coming here, they're mostly business and professional oriented. They don't like the idea of paying enormous taxes to pay for retirements for old white boomers, right? Like they're not into that. It's not all necessarily okay. We're just happy to be in Canada and whatever, but no, they're here so that they don't have to live in communist China. Mm-hmm. They run a fair number of conservative, and they also run a fair number of liberal for liberal seats as well. But they're mm-hmm. not that concerned, right? To get back to the global warming thing, I think it's a crock. I think it's overdone. I think it's an excuse to raise taxes and extend more control over our lives. Mm-hmm. I don't think the Liberal Party truly believes that we are contributing in any way to climate change. It's just that they need some kind of national emergency mm-hmm. that they can push through something like the GST without losing all their seats in like the Conservatives did in 1990. Mm-hmm. Solid Extra, I did vote, and I voted for Scheer. It's done now, so I'll say that much. Mm-hmm. And I voted for the reason that a lot of people are voting. It's not that they, in their heart, would like to see the PPC gain some seats, but I don't want. I want Trudeau out. At least I want him hobbled. Maybe the Conservatives are just liberal light, but the likelihood is they're going to be more likely to talk about talk about the things that we want to talk about. We don't want a million people coming into the country when we've got so many that are already homeless.
Yeah.
I mean, when you've got 30-year-old millennials, a third of 30-year-old millennials in that age group living at home with their parents, how are they not functionally homeless too?
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
exactly. If they're living with their parents, they're technically functionally homeless too.
Yeah, there's all kinds of things that are just not available to them. They are functionally poor and homeless.
What about,
right?
Tell me the story about when we had the guy on from Vancouver earlier in the first part of the show, when my channel crashed and burned, when he told me there's 17, 18 people and living in one 2-bedroom apartment.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's a national crisis. Those people need to be out. They need to be contributing to the economy. They need a chance to live the quote unquote Canadian dream. Solid Extra, sorry to hear it, buddy. I hope things get better for you. Yeah, like there's no opportunity, and they're not making a priority of creating opportunity. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and believe me, and Fanatical Anger, the same deal. Believe me, my heart bleeds for you guys. It really does. You deserve better than this. Mm-hmm. This is not right. You've got to be made a priority. I mean, I'm knocking old white boomers and all the rest of it here, but a lot of them are voting Conservative too. Okay, it's not all them. It's just that, you know, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, that time of major expansion after World War II. Mm-hmm. It's a one and done. Unless we change the way we do things, it's a one and done, and it's not coming back. Well, nobody wants to hear that. It's like people in the American heartland, you know, they're being told, well, you need to get used to it because the jobs aren't coming back, and things are going to change, and the old way is done, and you know, you got to embrace the new and the rest of it, and it's like, no, nobody voted for this.
No.
This was done to us.
A lot of this whole global warming crap, this thing needs to go. I mean, that we need to start focusing on the opioid crisis, the fentanyl crisis, these big factories in China producing. You know how much drugs they produce? You know how big of an organization they need to have to actually flood Canada with that much fentanyl and opioids? You know how many factories in China they have running this, producing this crap 24/7?
Oh yeah, no, it's a huge drain, because most of the consumption here is financed with debt too. Yeah. So it's a double drain. Sol Extra had a question. Are college students considered homeless by your standards? Everyone under 23 is technically homeless. Well, yeah, because in the 70s and 80s, I mean, as me and Mike have related many times, you know, you could go to work at a sawmill, you could go to work at a grocery store, and you could afford to at least put a down payment down on a starter home, right? But where most of these college students are, they're going to school, and school is expensive, and there isn't enough surplus income to buy a house in some of these built-up urban areas. So technically homeless. You know, I don't. Please understand, when I say homeless, I am not being derogatory at all. That's terrible. Everybody deserves at least a chance, the opportunity to have a place of their own. You know, not just in Canada, but in this world. We're just not making the youth a priority at all. When they talk about youth, they talk about, we're gonna legalize pot, right? We're gonna be all cool and hipster and all the rest of it. I would be surprised to see if the Conservatives don't get a majority out of all this mess, how many votes got siphoned off by the PPC and the Bloc Québécois also. The Bloc Québécois seems to be making a resurgence in Quebec. That's not a good sign, but it's not.
Well, Edmonton, I mean, Alberta is going to leave Canada if Liberals win.
Well, they kept threatening to do that. Yeah, I mean, they had they had the referendum in 1995. And they lost by like 0.5%. Like it was that close. You know,
I'm not talking about Quebec. I'm talking about Alberta.
Alberta. Well, I understand the sentiment. Believe me, I really do. And it might be the only thing in the end to make the rest of Canada wake up. But you guys got to remember out there in Alberta, okay? You got oil, and the prairies, okay? Because Saskatchewan and Manitoba will probably toy with the idea too. A lot of people talking that way. You got oil, you got agriculture, and you have access to the Pacific Ocean. If you take off and start blocking the borders, Ottawa, Ontario might consider that an act of war, and here comes the Real Rebellion 2.0.
Yeah.
You're going to have 100 volunteer rifle brigades coming from Ontario on the train to take it all back. Do you want to go there? Okay, what you want to do is you want to support, okay, a premier with some backbone.
Yeah.
When Ottawa passes something like the National Energy Policy, you need premiers that will enact the notwithstanding clause and say screw you. We're going to do it our way because forget it. We're not listening to you anymore.
Mm-hmm. Well,
yeah.
we're seeing BC getting gobbled up all in blue, and then the whole western part of BC is going heavy NDP. But NDP is down 14 seats from their dissolution. So they're down 14 seats, and today they're at 20. So they're at 25 right now. The Bloc Québécois was at 10. They're at 34. They're up 24 seats.
Yeah.
And the Conservatives are sitting at right now from the dissolution of 95 seats. They're up 23 seats to 118.
Yeah.
And from the Liberal dissolution, that's 177. They're at 157. They're still down 20 seats.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm seeing a couple of things in the comments too about how if Alberta declares independence, it could ally with the Americans. Well, you're assuming the Americans cooperate with that. Mm-hmm. You've got to have those discussions well in advance, because if America participates in the breakup of Canada, that's going to create a lot of problems for them too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And not just domestically, but on the international scene, because in the end, we are actually a different country. And I'm not saying it couldn't happen. I'm not saying I don't agree with the sentiment. I'm as ticked off with Eastern Canada as everybody else. But there's things we can do before we got to go that far.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of orange on this map too, but it's all in smaller ridings, like very little ridings. Like Nunavut is all orange. Then you got Northwest Territories and Yukon, that's Liberal.
Yeah.
And then you got all of Western British Columbia, pretty much NDP. And then you got the middle of Canada, pretty much all in blue.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the South Island and the Lower Mainland, at least outside of Vancouver proper, the NDP is always a contender because of environmentalism, right, and because of just the sheer number of government and corporate employees down there. They're militantly unionized. They're going to support whoever supports them. And if anybody's talking about cuts, those people will be out on the street protesting, and they will absolutely shut down. They'll shut down whatever they have to shut down. Yeah, we might be stuck with a carbon tax. We might be stuck with all kinds of things. So if he winds up getting a majority, okay, then you need to hunker down, folks. I mean, it was true beforehand, and the truth is we're going into an economic cycle, probably a downturn, regardless of who gets in. So you should be hunkering down anyway.
Do you think we could actually call Obama on election meddling with him, basically stating for people to vote for Trudeau? Would you consider that?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. He had no business doing that. I mean, he's just he's not the president of the United States anymore, so I guess he can do whatever he wants. And they don't have principles. They're going to do whatever. If it helps, if the Obama cult up here, takes that as a sign to vote for Trudeau, well, then they're going to do that. I mean, a third of Canada is going to vote Liberal, even if they're, it doesn't matter what they do. They're going to vote Liberal. Some places, especially in the older parts of Canada, they vote Liberal because their parents and their grandparents, their great-grandparents voted Liberal. It has absolutely nothing to do with what people have done. Like they just don't change that much.
All right, so I'm seeing here Niagara Falls Conservative, Niagara West Conservatives, and then we got all the little bits here, Brampton, Mississauga, Toronto Centre, East York, Scarborough, Pickering, Scarborough North, King Vaughan, everything is headed towards red. The bigger cities are red.
Yeah, well, they're reliably red. They always are. They like I said, they're most of your government ministries are in the big cities, the big urban centers. That's where all the the urban termite mounds. That's where the bug men live. They're going to vote. They're going to vote left, reliably left.
But a lot of these people that are voting left, um, left Europe or parts of like those days because of this whole conservatism, not conservative, sorry, socialist movement in Europe.
Well, yeah, tending more towards socialism.
But then why are they voting again back socialism?
Well, why do people in Venezuela keep supporting it? They're not real bright.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, again, I'm not gonna disparage them. They've got their reasons for doing that. I mean, there are people. Not everyone doesn't think alike.
Well, you see, the thing is, Venezuela does it because they want to stay as far away from America as possible, right?
Yeah, and you can't really blame them for that either. That's part of it.
Mm-hmm.
For a lot of them, it's probably like, well, I'll go hungry if it means that I retain my independence from El Norte. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
America doesn't have a lot of good friends among the lower classes in the rest of the world, and there's a good reason for it. Because we've all been screwed by their exported inflation with their worthless paper dollars, backed by aircraft carriers and depleted uranium. So that's understandable. And they do have, I mean, they're practically floating on an ocean of oil, and they want the right to sell it to whomever they want and in whatever currencies they want. And the Americans don't want that.
We got Anthony D in the comments saying, who would have thought Canada would be like this 20 years ago? Imagine what Canada will look like in another 20 years. Yeah,
no kidding. Well, the thing about history, guys, is it's not linear. You are seeing pushback, and you're seeing pushback in Canada too. I mean, if they pulled Obama in and they pulled Martin Luther King Jr.'s son in, if they pulled all these people in to pose beside Trudeau, then they bolstered their hardcore. And there are people there that might have been inclined to, maybe shift conservative. But what I'm hoping happens is that where it comes to the Conservative Party, which will still be the largest, center-right party, regardless of what Bernier manages to do, I'm hoping that they get a little more hardline. The biggest problem in the States by far is the people that called themselves conservatives, whether they were in politics, in the judiciary, even evangelicals. Their leaders were just cucked. They were just absolutely spineless. Mm-hmm. And it's like they were all sold out. You know what I mean? Like they just refused to defend traditional values in any way. And that kind of frustration is, we might see if Scheer doesn't get a majority. I mean, he's probably going to get his own seat. He'll lead Her Majesty's loyal opposition. But they might start looking for somebody else. He's going to have an opportunity in opposition to harden up a little bit. Mm-hmm. When you're trying to woo Central Canada, you're going to get as close to Liberal Party positions as you can without actually overlapping too much. The problem is that the Liberals have now gone so far left. I mean, the Conservatives could have owned the center. Right. They didn't need to do what they did. And the other problem in Canada, of course, is that you're stuck with one network. All of the debates were on CBC, which is unabashedly anti-conservative.
That's right.
Yeah, so it's we'll see. Attitudes need to harden, and they're not happening here. We're running behind America in this regard. People just haven't suffered enough, I guess. Okay.
I'm looking here at the Canada equal area results. So you're getting a lot of liberal votes out east. You get one or two. We got one NDP, and then we got one here in Fredericton that is green. Then Quebec is mostly Quebecois. It's divided between Quebecois and Liberal. Then in Ontario, you got mainly Liberal, followed by Conservative, then NDP. In Manitoba, you have pretty much a majority of it is the bigger ridings are conservative. Saskatchewan is all conservative. Alberta is
Yeah.
all conservative except Strathcona, Edmonton. And BC is a little mix between mainly, it looks like it's kind of on the fence between liberal and conservative.
Yeah.
And NDP, all three kind of being like three pieces of the pie. And then the territories right now are two. Only territory that's come in fully counted was Northwest Territories,
Yeah.
and that is liberal. So there's still a lot of check marks to be had here. So right now we are in 267 of 338 ridings have been called. 8,088,000 votes have been already counted. 8,157,000 votes have been counted. And
Yeah.
right now liberals are sitting at 157, conservatives 120, Bloc Québécois 32, New Democratic Party 25, the Green Party 4, and the PPC 0, and others at 0.
Yeah. Yeah. It looks like it looks like if the NDP holds true to Singh's pledge, if they join with the Liberals, they'll have a majority. So that'll the guys on here are talking about accelerationism. Well, there you go. Canada's government is going to go even further left than it has. So brace yourselves. We're heading into an economic cycle downturn anyway. Sooner or later, sooner rather than later, the odds of it happening increase month by month. It's going to happen, and then we're going to see what these people do. That's
the comments right here. So
yeah, you bet.
yeah, we're in a bit of a bind right now. Like, I mean, there's too much global warming and global climate change, and just too much. They're tackling phony or bogus discussions. Why don't that have been debunked by a lot of scientists who've lost their jobs or have to go into hiding because they told the truth. And then now, like, I mean, they tried pulling this climate change and carbon credits and all this crap in the late 1800s. They're trying to bring it back again, and now they're shoving it down the mainstream media's throat. They're getting celebrities in it, and people follow that. There's not a lot of people that, like, a majority, I could tell you this right now, Supreme, a majority of the people that voted conservative don't have cable.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
they
don't have cable.
They can't stand the news anymore.
They can't stand the news. Yeah.
You just can't watch it. Most cable TV is just globalist crap now. It's just unreal. It's too woke to do anything.
Why does Trudeau want to make Canada front and center, the leader of global warming pact and a global migration pact and all this other stuff?
Well, maybe he's jockeying for a job with the UN when he's done being Prime Minister of Canada. The thing is I think they know that it's crap. I think they know that. But like I said, they got to bring in some kind of GST 2.0 so that they can try to balance the books.
Anthony D has a really good comment here. I want to read it. It says,
Okay.
Hey, Mike, did you know that the average salary in Canada in the year 2000 was $45,000, and in 2019 the average salary is $54,000? That means we're only up $9,000 salary in 19 years. Home prices are up 500%.
You betcha. Isn't that cheap money wonderful? Mm-hmm. Isn't that great? Mm-hmm. And those 2% and 3% and 4% interest rates, aren't they great? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, you can't save any money because you can't get a return on it, but yeah, the price of homes went up way too much. And the thing is, they're still going up because prices are high. But the reason prices haven't gone down is because there's people hanging on by their fingernails, obviously, and not enough people have gone bankrupt yet. Mm-hmm. The low interest rates are enabling them to continue a little bit longer. The cities, they're kind of an economic power all unto themselves. Out here in the countryside, where we're kind of depending on hewing wood and drawing water, we're the ones that get hit the worst, right? And they don't care about us. I mean, we can reliably send conservative MPs to Ottawa election after election, but unless Ontario hurts, we just don't seem to get any traction. Mm-hmm. Western Canada has always felt exploited by Eastern Canada. I saw a cartoon from, I think I actually put it on your channel there, from over 100 years ago of, Western Canada being milked by Eastern Canada. So it's nothing new. I mean, we have good times and bad times. It's just out here when the good times come, you better pile up that hay.
Mhm.
You better save your money. You better not go into debt too much because it can just dry up so quickly.
Lady Justice 23 saying, I was hoping that conservative Canadians would move to the U.S. We can't move to the U.S. They don't want us in the U.S.
Yeah, they don't want us. No,
They're stopping us at the borders now and telling us to go back, and you got a 5-year ban.
Yeah, no, we're. I wish our country would do the same. Honestly, tighten up the borders. We need wages to go up, so the labor market needs to tighten up. That's about the only way. Their answer otherwise is just to raise taxes. Well, that just drives more businesses under. It drives more investment out of Canada, and they think, okay, well, as long as we can get taxes up and get the control, well, no problem. But Canada is an enormous place, and it is very fragile. It always has been. Canada has always been divided. It's not a matter of, the forces wax and wane, but Canada is in many ways like the States. It's like 10 or 12 separate countries that don't know much about each other and often don't even like each other. It's just they're separated by geography, right? And hopefully either we have a short, sharp recession and things bounce back, or maybe just to throw a bone to Western Canada, we managed to get that pipeline through, or perhaps the price of potash and lumber and everything will go back up. The things that created the prosperity out here. Basically, we got a lot of bad harvests in the States. I could see us getting a good dollar for our grain. It's just, I don't know how Canada has lasted as long as it has. Actually, it kind of blows me away.
I'm just trying to see who won Davenport here in Canada, in Ontario. I'm not seeing it here. Oshawa, Oxford, Sudbury, Mississauga, Eglinton, Bradford. Yeah, if I find it here, I'll let you know. Elizabeth's asking in the comments. Well, it looks like Alberta and Saskatchewan are pretty much all in Conservative. It's British Columbia now. We're waiting on the votes. So we don't have anything on Burnaby yet. No check marks confirmed. The only confirmed check marks we have in BC are all pretty much a majority Conservative that are check marked. Second, followed by, we don't have a single red Liberal check mark yet because polls are still coming in BC. So we have 282 of the 338 ridings have been called. 9,102,000 total votes. Liberals are down 20 seats at 157. The Conservatives are up 27 seats at 122. The Bloc Québécois is up 22 seats at 32. And the NDP is at, they're down 16 seats at 23. And the Green Party was at 2 seats. They're at 4. They're up 2 seats. Wow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And PPC doesn't have a single seat yet.
No, I don't think the PPC is going to get a seat. If Bernier keeps that going, it depends on, number one, how bad things go in the next 4 years. Okay. And if he can maintain enough support and especially enough financial support to continue to campaign. I mean, that party only came into being a little over, right around 3 years ago. That's not enough time. Simple as that. And we need a chance for this guy to prove himself. Right? I mean, he's saying all these good things. Well, and especially at election time, everyone says good things.
Wow, we got a record 168 people watching. Imagine if we didn't go down like 5 times in a row earlier. We'd probably have this marathon going on for hours, eh?
Yeah, definitely. Well, and you'd probably have twice the viewers.
No, unfortunately, I run independent and get you guys on. There's too many channels running in cooperativeness with each other and sharing views type of thing. I don't mind doing that stuff, but I like to be with you guys just to be with you guys. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
well, I like that too. I like having a chat, an opportunity for us to interact. And like I said earlier, you've got callers from all over the world. Hey, that's good. That's
I noticed that a lot of channels
that's looking like a good thing.
a lot of channels only focus on local issues. No one talks about I could have an entire stream talking about Australia and have only Australians call into the show.
Yeah.
Same thing with New Zealand. Same thing with the UK. Same thing with America. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, you're getting them calling in from all over, and that's good. Solid Extra, would Conservatives have won if Bernier was Conservative leader? Well, that's a good question, Solid Extra. I'll tell you what I think about that. I would have preferred if Bernier had been the Conservative leader, but you've got a lot of people down east that think that Bernier is hard right wing. Okay, Scheer, if it had been him and not Scheer, they might not even have gotten as many seats as they did. I think that I think based on the difference between the two messages, there's just too many people in Eastern and Central Canada that consider even the Liberal position from 40 years ago to be hard right now. It's that's got to pass. Unfortunately, it seems like we need to have some hard times here.
But can I ask a question? You remember when that video when I voted for the president in Portugal, right?
Yeah.
We had 21 parties to vote for it, okay?
Yes.
Why doesn't the Liberal Party just be like they are in Portugal? Like you have the Monarchy Party of Portugal, we have the Workers' Communist Party, we have the Communist Party of Portugal, we have the Conservative Party of Portugal, we have the Portugal First Party. Like we have all different parties. Why doesn't some of these parties start branching out into what they really are?
Well, because there's power in the numbers, right?
Well, but Liberal Party is fronting as like a socialist party.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
why aren't they just calling themselves the Socialist Party of Canada?
Well, why would you do that, though? As soon as you called yourself the Socialist Party of Canada, you'd get the same number of votes as the Socialist Party of Canada already gets.
Oh, so you want to front it as a Liberal Party?
Yeah, words mean things, man. So call yourself the Liberal Party, and then it's like the Democratic People's Republic of North Korea, right?
Mm-hmm. Democratic.
Yeah, call yourself all kinds of things, right? It sounds real good, but words mean things, and even if you don't mean the words themselves mean things. Mm-hmm. No, liberal. I mean, all of the parties have evolved, and they all seem to have drifted more and more and more to the left, and that's been the agenda. And we're getting to the point now with that fake news bill that's the only agenda permitted to be discussed. Well, what you're going to have in a situation
why don't they talk about housing affordability and average wages and opioid crisis and thing? What are they talking about? This garbage right here. If you say something about some political leader and they don't like it, breaking the law could lead up to 5 years in prison and $50,000 fine. That's what they're bringing in for us.
Yeah, that's right. Well, they're proposing it. If it passes, there's going to be court challenges. It's going to pass
because when it gets brought up, it gets retracted and brought back and rediscussed, brought back and readmission and brought back. You know it's going to come back.
Sure, but they always do that, Mike. I mean, they're even back in the 90s and the 2000s, previous Liberal governments, they brought in laws to try to restrict certain kinds of speech, and they got shot down in the Supreme Court. I mean, they keep doing it, and they keep doing it with the hopes that eventually it'll stick, but it doesn't pass court challenges. So as long as someone is willing to put up the money and fight in court, and considering how comparatively liberal our Supreme Court has been in Canada for the last 50 years, they've still done okay. Like we've managed to hold back a lot of challenges, and it doesn't just go one way. They brought in gun registration in the long gun registration in the mid 90s, and when Harper came along, he got rid of it. I mean, no one was doing anything about it anyway, so it was just kind of a red herring. I mean, it's not that I'm not concerned. It's not that I'm not worried. We got a lot of problems here, and these people are just going on and on about things that have absolutely nothing to do with everyday life out here in the rest of Canada. Well, that you're getting a reaction to that. Who was it? Anthony D. Yeah, you might be right. If they had given Bernier a chance, he might have brought out the vote. Mm-hmm. It's just that there are people that might maybe they're traditionally liberal, but they switched to conservative because they just don't like Trudeau, right? So they went with nice guy Scheer. So we don't really know. To me, it depends on how many votes the PPC actually got nationwide. I'll be curious to see that number.
Mm-hmm. So here it is, guys. Canada federal debt. Here's the federal debt, guys, and it's growing fast. Here it is, Canada's taxpayer.com. Stand up and be heard. Here it is, 696 billion, 658.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah. There you are. There you are, grandkids. You're welcome.
Yeah. Yeah. 696 billion, 658 million, 552,000, and that's going too fast to count. Everybody's share in Canada is 18,705. Growth of debt per day, 54,246,000 per day.
Yeah.
And that's $2,260,000 per hour.
Yeah, it's kind of depressing, yeah, to see that number. But that number won't go up forever either. I mean, because it simply can't. The math doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, they will push too far. I mean, what we were talking about on the weekend with all these protests, right, in Chile and in Beirut and in Hong Kong. This is all people, okay, that have already been pushed way too far. We don't have riots like that in the streets here, but you have seen demonstrations, right? Like you saw there was 400 logging trucks went in a convoy down to downtown Vancouver a month or so ago, and you saw a whole bunch of people from the oil patch in Edmonton to greet little Greta there.
Oh yes,
You know what I mean?
Follow the yellow brick road.
Yeah.
Well, here it is, guys. Live for your eyes. Canada's debt clock: 1,218,525,691. No, yeah, 1,218,000,000,000.
Yeah, that's total debt. That's probably federal and
Nope.
municipal.
This excludes provincial debt.
Oh, is that right? So that's just federal debt?
Yep, 1.2 trillion.
Yeah, well, I'm not shocked. Well, that's doubled. Definitely. Ontario.
Woo!
Yeah. Yeah, spend, baby. Yeah. Ontario, biggest debt in the world. Apparently it's the most highest indebted jurisdiction in the world. You know, but what happened in Ontario, right? When they hit that kind of crisis, when people had enough, they put in Doug Ford.
Tell me the story about, if you don't mind, how Canada's boasting about how they created 45,000 jobs last month, and all of them are public sector jobs, and private sector went down 20,000.
Oh, there's nothing new there, Mike. They've been talking. Yeah, that's what they've been doing that for years, as long as I can remember. Well, we added jobs here and added jobs there. Yeah, you got all these people getting out of school, and they don't get a job, so they go work for the government. Or they set up some program. It's just short term. It buys votes. It makes it look not as bad, because all you have to do is borrow some more money and kick it down the road. All they're trying to do with this carbon tax is come up with enough tax dollars to service the debt so that they can lever it up some more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the first person that says we're going to balance the books no matter what it takes will never be elected.
That's right.
There's too many people getting government cheese of one kind or another in this country. They're not going to go for it. So here we come. Here comes the wall. Here comes the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to get hit bad here. And it's well, you know what though? I mean, we made it through the Depression, right? Like interest rates were 20% here. You know, we survived. It was just, you got to get ready for that stuff, guys. You got to start forgetting about, oh well, I'm gonna do what my folks did and I'm gonna do what my grandparents did. No, that's a one and done, man. That's gone. Okay, moving into the future, the common sense principles are going to be so important. So Elizabeth, don't be sad. Okay, there's going to be a lot of angry people, and a lot of people's attitudes are going to harden, and they're going to think hard about what happened. So.
I wanted to ask, guys, if you're watching this transmission, Elizabeth, before you go off, can you share this transmission for us, guys, please? If you're leaving the show or something, or you're starting to kind of feel it, the election's not going the right way, you know, type of thing, please go ahead and share this transmission on any social media platform. I don't care which one. Get it out there. So, okay, let's go back here. Yeah, subscribe to the channel, guys, and let's check out here. This Google election live update isn't really updating nothing. It's just It's only preliminary. One seat already is full. That's it. It's not really giving us anything until all. You know what that means? That means all the offices haven't reported yet.
Yeah.
Well, we're
Yeah.
at 302 of
No, they're not
300
going to.
302 right now, guys. We're at 302 of 338 ridings called, 10,500,000, 10,613,000 votes.
Yeah. Yeah, there's about 8 million people that didn't go out this time. You know, I mean, but that's the thing about those people. And maybe it's a sign of success in some ways of our society. Okay, and hear me out, because that sounds like a weird thing to say. If your life is so comfortable that you literally don't care what the government of your country is doing from one day to the next, either you have nothing to lose or your life is actually pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, there's always a large number of people that stay home. You know, all this fight over the 2016 election in the States that the Democrats are still trying to overturn. Well, over 100 million people stayed home. Damn near as many people stayed home as actually showed up to vote. And that was like the election of the century kind of a thing, right? Like, it's just not a big deal to a lot of people. That's not necessarily bad news.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those people might actually be fairly comfortable. If that many people can be comfortable enough, they don't have to be concerned about who's governing their country from one day to the next. Or from one year to the next. Well, that's not necessarily bad news. That actually might be a sweet spot that you aim for, that you don't have to worry about it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll be honest with you guys. This is the first time I voted since the mid-2000s. I sat out a couple of elections because I felt the same way. Well, it doesn't matter who I vote for; they never win, and it doesn't seem to make any difference anyway. But after Justin got elected, it's like, yeah, I think it's time we started adding up the numbers. The important thing is turnout. It's almost as important as as who actually wins, because the country itself is subject to the whims of nature, of global economics, you know, of our American neighbors, right? When they get a cold, we get the flu. Everybody knows that.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many things that we don't control, regardless of our own fiscal policies. So it's you know, the important thing is, as much as the rules permit you, make yourself as anti-fragile as possible. That's always the smart thing to do, and it'll be the smart thing going forward.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the thing. I mean, the world is still going so far at this time. It may have slowed down a little bit, but it's still heading towards a big blow up of some kind.
Okay, guys,
You know, we all
got
know that.
Supreme Cannon on the phone. Someone's asking in the comments who is calling in. It is Supreme Cannon here, and Supreme, man, like we were watching like the other Mike in the Night from last night, from Saturday night, and it was pretty intense. Look what's happening in Hong Kong, and then we were looking at what was happening in Chile. Look at this civil unrest in Chile, and it was all socialism that did this.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. Well, there's so much corruption, and you're gonna have corruption in any nation, in government. It's just, you know, they go together like peas and carrots, right?
Mm-hmm.
You understand that there's cronyism. You understand that stuff. But as long as the common people have a way to at least live their lives and do some of the things they want to do, you know, before the lights go out, it's not so bad. But when they start seeing those things slip further and further and further away, and the leaders just continue going on the same way, you know, it reminds me of that old Wayne Newton song, you know, "Daddy, don't you walk so fast." It's like, hello, guys, you know, like we're drowning here. We're stuck in the mud. You're leaving us behind, and you're supposed to be looking after us. You're supposed to be putting our interests, you know, giving them a priority, and you're making it obvious that you're not. Well, that in the end, that's what happened in France. That's what happened in Lebanon and in Chile. The corruption plus the people that were living in comfort, regardless of how everyone else was living. You know, they just finally had enough. And the thing is, when people are on the streets burning stuff, you're way too late. You've screwed up big time. You know, like Macron offered to, you know, he canceled that fuel tax increase, and he offered some other, concessions to the yellow vests, and it wasn't doing the trick. It's like they want him gone. They want that whole leadership gone. They want somebody else now. France has changed its government multiple times since the time of Napoleon. Like they're probably gonna do it again before too long.
Well, they have to because no one's standing up for the people, the common citizen. Everyone that Macron guy was working for the World Bank.
Yeah, well, most of them are, and the thing is that
No, he actually worked for the World Bank before, like actually physically worked for them.
Mm-hmm.
He had a position in the World Bank, is what I'm saying.
He was in international banking. Yeah. So the thing about Macron too is France has a caste system. They have a class system, just like in England, just like in India, just like a lot of countries. They have, everyone basically sorts themselves out into a strata somewhere eventually, right? It's working class, middle class, upper class, whatever, and then the elite at the top of the pyramid. Well, he went to the best schools. He was basically groomed to be a leader of some kind, to be a ruler, right? And that's how it is there. You have to be in a certain club in order to get to that level. It's not too many people in Europe that can aspire to be anything higher than, maybe prime minister or president or something like that. But for the most part, you've got to be fairly well connected. And I have no doubt it's the same in a place like Chile. But they're not well-run countries, and what happens is eventually, they just we're going to bump the tax on this or that because we got to continue to pay for the service, and so many people depend on it, and their incomes were not keeping pace with the cost of living.
Yeah, capitalism works if wages are within sync with the rate of inflation.
Yeah, there needs to be a balance. Like wages used to go up with productivity up until about 1990 or so, and then wages leveled off and productivity kept going up, which just meant automation, the electronic economy, obviously, and then you had more and more people coming into the country to participate in the economy, which kept wages depressed, and now wages are probably 75% lower than they should be to account for. What am I trying to say? To account for the gains in productivity. So it all went to the upper class.
Yeah.
All the bank bailouts, all the cheap money, all the benefits went to the upper class. It didn't go to the lower classes. Okay, well, lower interest rates to 2% to make houses affordable. Well, then you increase speculative bubbles, and then the price of houses goes to $500,000, and there you go. You haven't won. You're treading water.
Yeah.
You're carrying crushing amounts of debt. And you're not getting ahead, and everyone in the house has to work 2 jobs and has to be a doctor to have a hope in hell of doing something.
Mm-hmm.
And but the truth is no, if you can't afford to live in a certain area, then don't live there. Go live somewhere else. It's easy to say, but North America is an enormous place.
Right,
you can
but for
probably
Canadians,
find.
it's tough. For Canadians, it's very tough because with Americans, I mean, if you live in the state of Texas, there's a lot of places you could live.
Sure,
but
there is.
For Canadians, we don't have much of a choice, right?
No, we don't. No, that 49th parallel is a pesky thing. It really is. You want to live somewhere where the weather isn't miserable 7 months of the year. You got to go to the maybe parts of the East Coast, or you've got to go to the West Coast. And it's not just people coming from the rest of Canada to live in Vancouver. Now they're coming in by the boatload from elsewhere. Mm-hmm. So it's there's always been tumult, and we've always had a problem in North America with integrating all of these people that come in, right? I mean, you can call it racism or xenophobia or whatever, but the fact is, it takes a while for it all to sort out. At some point in time, you gotta turn down the tap and give everybody an opportunity to find a place where they can generate the kind of income and live the kind of life that they're willing to work hard enough to have, and they can actually have it. You know what I mean? It's just not when you shipped all those high-paying jobs and all the spin-off jobs out of Canada, you can't just say, oh well, that's just the way things are. That's normal economics. No, they opened the airlock door and let all that capital out of the country. That was.
It kind of reminds me when.
Treason.
Well, that kind of reminds me when Dick Cheney's company Halliburton, where American taxpayers sent billions of dollars in cash there.
Yeah, big money.
And that went nowhere.
No, those people are, they live in a different level. They're still, they do. They don't live in our world. None of them have ever experienced our world. You know, maybe their grandparents or great grandparents started from nothing, but you know, they're all trust fund people.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Yeah, there's so many things we have to be concerned about that they've never had to be concerned about. And so to them it's like, well, we're the big picture people. We're the technocrats. We're the ones who are going to pull this lever and push this button, and we're going to remodel all of North America and all the developed world into an over, integrated, scientifically managed economy. You know what I mean? It's just garbage.
Well, I have
Just
here.
garbage.
I
Doesn't
have
work.
here. Metal Gear Mark III is asking, is it hard to enter the USA? It's very complicated for Canadians to enter the United States. I even had a company sponsor me. I had a tax ID number. I had everything by the book, and then I had to do all this paperwork for 6 months to make sure I wasn't stealing an American's job. I was living in Florida. I was doing everything by the book. I paid a lawyer thousands of dollars. Then I got everything approved, and then I went to go to the interview, and they told me that they're not looking for my kind of people.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's very hard for a Canadian to get back into into the United States.
It's pretty incredible, yeah.
Because a lot of people from Canada that have a different citizenship, for Portuguese citizenship, it means nothing. But people living in Canada who are Canadian but still have, let's say, Chinese or something else, they use that as their primary to apply to live in the States.
Yeah, well, yeah, they use that for leverage. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't use Canadian because it won't get you in.
No, you got to play the race card. And unfortunately, yes, that's a big part of politics in the developed world right now. It's not right, but it is what it is. And the point is we're not really replaceable, Mike. That's the thing. These people think that us old line European types are all we'll just replace them with somebody else. Well, we built the place.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I was talking to this about my mom. We go back to Portugal. That's it. We don't have to. Infrastructure's been there for thousands of years. We're not worried. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, we're not.
But one thing that concerns me, I don't want them coming back there and start sanctioning our country like they did before because we wouldn't join the world banks.
Yeah. Well, the problem is a place like Canada, which is an enormous place and an important place, but has a very small population. Is we kind of, our leaders are, again, they're very elitist. They want to be part of this globalist. They want to take advantage of global opportunities as long as we're oriented towards globalism. If the majority of people in Canada oriented themselves away from globalism, they're not going to respond. They're gonna try to change the outcome, like what's happened with Brexit and with the Trump election. They're going to try openly in front of everyone, which is not helping their cause. Mm-hmm. But eventually, just because of the simple fact that the average person's life is not getting better, in many ways is deteriorating, that's a relentless pressure. And the idea that they're not ultimately going to respond to that with some kind of movement in our direction, well, then eventually we're going to wind up with an electorate that's ready to elect someone like Trump.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he'll endure the slings and arrows and he'll go, well, it's real simple. This is how it's going to be. This is what people want, and the people will agree by voting for him. And then he'll just do what he has to do. And there's going to be a lot of opposition. We have a swamp here too, believe me.
Mm-hmm. We had a big swamp here, actually.
We have a big swamp, but eventually they retire. They die. They leave. They go do other things. And then the next generation of voters has a chance to actually have some influence. Mm-hmm. It's and it always comes down to the same thing. Well, it's always the 1%. Well, if you took the total wealth of the 1% in Canada, say, not even America, and compared it to the amount of government spending that goes on in a year, the 1% would finance several months of government spending. Okay, they're not, they exert a certain amount of influence, but the idea that they control the place and run the place, no, that's not true. They don't.
Okay, we got here Wexit News. Why some Albertans want to separate from Canada. Hey, I don't blame them for wanting to separate from Canada, to be honest with you guys. Albertans and Saskatchewans are pissed off because they haven't found a voice in Ottawa, Canada's capital. He says political scientist Mr. Cooper is linked to the Calgary School a group of academics of the University of Calgary whose workforce on Western interest and in some cases conservative politics. So the billion-dollar oil pipeline Canadians own and can't build. Hundreds of thousands join Canada climate strikes, and Canada basically is looking at Wexit, and Alberta is looking at Wexit because there is no more. They have no more confidence in their government.
Yeah, if I think you have a situation where if Alberta, if the prairie provinces especially, if their premiers get hardline enough, they'll start invoking the notwithstanding clause, and they will start stopping Ottawa from exercising the kind of power that they have. Right now, it's been kind of a Mexican standoff. If it gets bad enough, and people's attitudes get angry and hard enough, then their leaders will eventually take the hint, and they'll start every time that Ontario or Ottawa tries to impose some kind of condition on Western Canada, they'll just say, no, we're invoking notwithstanding clause. We're not going to let you do that. We're not accepting it.
Well, just like Catalonia, Catalonia wants to leave Spain, and Catalonia is a big powerhouse income earner for the country of Spain, and they want out. And then where's democracy? What's the point of democracy if they can't vote an independent state?
But
they give it to Israel.
Right. Well, they give it to Israel, sure. Yeah. Israel has up to this point been a special case. If things get bad enough on this side of the Atlantic, there'll be less sympathy for that. There'll be more sympathy for people in Ontario. And remember, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, a lot of evangelicals there. There's a lot of pro-Israel people there, right? But they're also starting to be seeing that, okay, well, why can't we have our own country? Why can't we do this? Why do we have to depend on Ottawa? But they're risking civil war. Yeah, that's the thing. If you're proposing cutting off 2/3 of the population of Canada from access to the Pacific and to all that oil, right? And I'm inclined to think the Americans are making a very good deal on our oil right now, since they're literally the only place we can send it. So I don't think they're going to support Alberta separation. In fact, they'll probably do whatever they have to do to quash it. But there's no harm in trying at this point.
Imagine Alberta did gain independence from Canada. Let's say they did. They got out. You know how rich they'd be in a matter of, I don't know, 3 to 5 years, and they pay down their deficits, their provincial deficits, and become a free and clear province and erect some fences along their border. Oh man, they'll have to erect fences around their borders because people will be flocking there in huge numbers to move there.
Yeah, probably.
Well, no, if all the oil and the dividends and everything stay there, and the banks don't have to deleverage so heavy there in that province, banks become more independent, right? So you'll have the Bank of Alberta instead of the CIBC, so they don't have to run that garbage with them too, right? That would be good.
Yeah. It would be, except that Ottawa would no longer have that $11 billion to shovel into Quebec, and so Quebec would start threatening to separate too. So it's be a lot easier for Ottawa to just simply do whatever it has to do to keep Alberta in Confederation. Which, when you think about it, when you really think about it, Quebec got a whole bunch of money from Ottawa by having a separation referendum. Alberta would probably succeed if Ontario would probably be willing to make all kinds of concessions in order to keep. I mean, if they're stupid enough to threaten Alberta, well, then they deserve what they get. But if they actually start giving some concessions to Alberta to defeat a referendum or to keep it from happening, that would be a good thing. I think it would be a good thing. And I think that's how it would play out. I think that they would pump enough money into, or at least make enough concessions to Western Canada that the referendum wouldn't happen at all. It would solve a lot of problems. But it still comes down to, that's right. Quebec separatism will fail due to mass migration. That's what happened last time. Jacques Parizeau said it was Ottawa money and the ethnic vote, he called it, right? And that's pretty much what happened. Alberta, but Alberta is a hurting unit right now. So and Quebec isn't.
Yeah, we'll see what happens because it's very interesting for Alberta to, if Alberta does want to separate, to see how much if the people of Alberta vote to leave Canada, we'll see how much democracy Canada has too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and how committed people are to it. I mean, when you see these fake news laws and you see these other gag laws that have been put in place over the years and have been defeated in the Supreme Court, I think a fake news law would also be defeated. I think it would not survive a court challenge. They do it, I think, in the hopes that maybe one of them will succeed at some point in time because it's easy for them to do because they've got the government checkbook. But the other thing is it helps them and it hobbles the other side. They know we're here, Mike. They've got to know it by now.
Mm-hmm.
But they think as long as they deny us a platform, they can buy themselves time. Because the alternative, if we can't express ourselves, then the alternative is violence, which means at that point in time, they've got a license to take the military, to take the police, and to use the intelligence services to crack down on the ringleaders, right? Like they could make this drag out for another 20 years.
So here it is. It
really
says right here,
up.
what Albertans think of Trudeau. 12% think Justin Trudeau should be the next prime minister, and 83% want the Liberal Party out of government. So if you had a referendum in Alberta for a Wexit, I think you'll see Alberta winning the Wexit vote to exit Canada, but they're going to bring it through courts just like Brexit and take another 10 years for it to go through.
Yeah, as long as we don't have and then Ottawa's response, okay, we'll find out is Trudeau just really a trust fund baby who isn't aware of how normal people live, or does he really have active contempt and disdain for people who don't think like him? Because if Alberta and say Saskatchewan, say you get a domino effect and you wind up with something like the southern states seceding from the Union, right? It's going to be touchy. I mean, they're gonna have to make some concessions to prevent it from happening.
Well, if Canada goes hard left with NDP joining the Liberal Party and basically the Liberal Party agreeing with the NDP to federalize pharmaceuticals, we're dead.
Mm-hmm. It's not good. It's not good
We're
for
dead.
Confederation.
You saw what happened when they federalized car insurance. You saw what happened when they federalized our everything. You see what happens when they federalize our student loans. They federalize everything and they push the price up of everything. And then when a person decides not to buy, or now the pharmaceutical companies are going to charge the average Joe that needs a medication that their doctor won't provide them a prescription for because the Canadian government refuses to pay for it, even though they've been taking it for 20 years.
Yeah. It's the creeping overreach of the central government that really took hold during I think even during the days of Lester Pearson, but definitely the first Trudeau. They wanted a strong central government, which meant they wanted to take more and more taxing power away from the provinces and centralize it all in Ottawa.
Yeah.
It was a stupid idea. If they wanted support to do all the things they were doing, they should have done the opposite. They should have increased provincial autonomy and just minded their business, and then they could have found other ways to because most of Ottawa's control is not direct; it's financial, right? Like they give equalization payments to the provinces so they can deliver the same amount of service wherever you go in the country. Okay, for healthcare, for education, for highways, and all the rest of it, right? All the provinces depend on each other because all the provinces ship their goods either into the States or to either coast. So we need infrastructure connecting it all, and we need free movement of goods on that infrastructure. Elizabeth, Prime Minister, has really dug for it. You know what? You're not wrong. You've got Trudeau to deal with, but again, the man controlling the most powerful, the most numerous province in Canada, literally the center of the country, is considered a far-right conservative. So yeah, you've got someone there with the power to invoke the notwithstanding clause and tell Trudeau to bugger off. Yeah. It doesn't matter if he has a majority or not.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
And whatever the federal government does, no one can blame Ford for that. So it's he's covered. If he manages to turn things around, balance the books, cut regulation, do any of the things that he can to, it's Ford's a sellout. Yeah, okay, Layla, I don't know. I mean, remember, anything to the right of Chairman Mao is far right now. That's where the Overton window is, and it's just garbage.
Mhm.
And where the LGBT in that is, that's a third rail, especially with Canadian media. You have to at least not interfere with that. And it's ridiculous, but people's attitudes have to change that. They have to change that at the local level. Nobody wants that. Nobody cares, right? You're talking about, you take all those groups together, you're talking 4 or 5% of the population. Nobody cares, right? Like, we're made to care.
Yeah.
But
I'm
who
just,
watches
they're going to
CBC
raise
anymore?
property taxes because these cities aren't making enough via taxing their citizens because
Yeah.
you know why? Because they're not making enough money, and then we don't tax them enough. They got to raise their income tax, and then they're going to start raising property tax. Remember that article I read about 2 weeks ago about the average Canadian family household is paying $43,000 in tax a year?
Yeah.
At the pump, on the dollar, on your groceries, on everything.
Yeah. I'm not surprised by that.
It's a
Yeah,
lot.
Andre Nicotine. Yes,
It's a
it
lot.
is.
And then in 1970, it was like 6,200 or no, $1,690.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Layla, sick men pretending to be women assault women. That's right. Why on earth is this being permitted? Why? And this is the thing: women are a larger demographic than men in this country. Why is the female electorate permitting this? Why are they letting this happen? And especially the hardline feminists that claim to be speaking for all women. Why are they permitting this? How come you're not tarring and feathering them? They have to listen to you way more than these male politicians listen to men. You think they would anyway. They're completely discredited themselves, and they need to be punished for it. They need to be punished.
Well,
yeah, they are sellouts. Of course they are. They don't care about women. They don't even care about gay people. Okay, this is harassment of normal people. That's all it is. It's just keeping you in a constant state of stress and springing things on your children and they're just harassing you. They hit you from every angle all the time, 24/7. The forces of evil, Mike, they're not sitting on the bench. They're not at home. They're in the game. The benches are clear. They're all in and going for it all the time. And everybody else is just doop the doop the doop the doop. Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. That reminds me of that. Man, I got to bring this up. I'm really sorry, guys. It's not really off topic, but these guys reminded me of that commercial that they had for Verizon Wireless. It goes like this: urgent commercial. Here it is. It even comes up when you look at it in the. This guy right here. It's these guys right here. This reminds me of right here.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta lower it here, but I don't want to get like.
I'm on a bit of a delay. I may not hear it right away.
Urgency. Gotta get some urgent. What urgency?
Foreigner, yeah.
Looking about an urgency. That's what I think of when I see those. When people talk about that whole leftists down in Vancouver. It's like this. This is what I'm thinking. Urgency. I remember watching that. That commercial used to come on every 25 minutes down in South Florida. And then I'd go to work and I'd sing that, and then my friend would go. My friend would go, "Oh, that freaking idiot! I hate that guy."
Yeah, Phase Blue Blocker. Do not jump off your house. We need you. There'll be an election again. Things are going to happen. Hunker down and wait it out.
I'm just right now we're looking at a liberal minority, and I'm kind of interested to see what happens. I know the NDP is going to swing left hard.
Yeah, well, they probably will. If they need the NDP to maintain a coalition, they're going to. They're probably going to have to go left in order to maintain it. But the more they do that, the more white hot the rage gets in Western Canada and in the other parts of Canada where normal people actually live. Okay, so and the thing is, they might be able to do something federally, but provincially, especially again in Ontario and in Quebec, which is a very depressingly socialist and kind of a Western European place, they definitely do not want Quebecers replaced by waves of foreigners. Okay, I mean they may not be militantly Catholic anymore, but they're certainly not interested in becoming militantly Muslim either. So you're going to see political violence if this keeps up, if they don't back off. It's happened before. We had problems in 1970. We had bombings, we had assassinations here in nice, quiet, polite Canada, that place everybody thinks about so much. This place has always been a powder keg, always. It's just such a small population and so spread out, right? If you didn't like your neighbors, well, you could just go somewhere else, not a problem.
Well,
Yeah.
we got.
Oh, sorry. I just saw a comment here, a question from Solid Extra. If I can just take this, Mike.
Go.
Why is Russia so overrated? They're 4 times bigger population, but have smaller GDP. Russia's entire economy is dependent on fossil fuels. That's a good question. Russia is still recovering from the Soviet days. Okay.
They are.
And the slaughter, the poverty. Plus, they have been everybody's punching bag since 1991. The
Not to forget, they're almost out of debt.
They're almost out of debt. Yeah, they have enough capital reserves to pay off their national debt.
U.S. Treasuries.
U.S. Treasuries. They're actually financially sound in that regard. Their economy is growing slowly. Okay, because of all the embargoes. I mean, they have a lot of sanctions put on them all the time. And remember, a lot of it is they're a hostage to American politics. Okay, the Democratic Party has been using them for their boogeyman, certainly since at least since 2016, but even earlier. I mean, when they got involved in the CIA and Obama's attempt to get the Islamic State to bust up Syria for the benefit of Israel, which is my opinion. Your mileage may vary. Okay, Russia came in with warplanes and started beating the crap out of them. So the Democratic Party, of the United States, hates Russia. Right? When they were communists, they loved them. And now that they're not communist anymore, they hate them. Russia has all kinds of economic potential, but they have a lot of problems with corruption, and they have a lot of problems getting their goods to market. So they are dependent on fossil fuels. They are still Europe's main supply of natural gas. If the Islamic State had managed to break up Syria, then there was a proposed pipeline from Qatar into southern Europe, and that would have been competition for Russian national gas as well, which is part of the reason why Putin decided to support Assad. They've been allies since, I believe, the early 70s anyway. Russia maintains a warm water port in the Mediterranean in Syria. Okay, but also they wanted to protect their gas monopoly into Western Europe. So and NATO doesn't like that, and the Democratic Party doesn't like that, and they still exert a lot of power. So it is what it is.
Yep. We got Big E in the comments here saying we are losing our sense of identity by design. I believe in that. I believe that they're trying to take what Canada is or was 20 years ago and making it into something that it's not. And if people honestly knew what Canada was 20, 30 years ago, they would have a heart attack today of the amount of change.
Oh, I think if those old Great War veterans could stand up on their feet again, they'd start shooting. I think they'd go nuts. I think they'd burn the Parliament buildings. I think they'd haul people out and hang them from the lampposts. Yeah, we've gone downhill a long way in 50 years, no question about it. But I want to, and I'll probably just end it here, but I want to give an encouraging word to everybody, okay? There's little countries in the world, places like Poland, okay, Serbia, Chechnya, places that literally disappeared from the world map for centuries because they were occupied by larger empires that tried to disrupt their culture and to dilute their ethnicity. And it never succeeded. All that happens in the end is that attitudes harden, okay, and they are prepared to defend it even with assassination if necessary.
Right.
Serbians are tough as nails. Like they don't have to worry. They were under control of the Ottoman Empire, an imperialist Muslim empire for 500 years. And the day, and I mean the microsecond, that the Turks were finally weak enough, the Serbs rose up and kicked them out, and they haven't been back. 500 years, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're going to find out how tough our values are in the next 20, 25 years. All right, the youth, a lot of the youth very much wants things to go back, at least in some way, the way they are. And you know what? There's a lot of these Asian kids and a lot of these Sikh kids that feel the same way. I mean, their parents served the British Empire too, and they fought in the World Wars too, and and their grandchildren very much want to come here and do what we've been doing. It's not over yet, guys. Remember that this is artificial. It's being done to us.
That's
well,
right.
as soon as the money runs out, that all stops. A whole lot of other problems begin, but that won't be a problem. You're going to see communities become a lot tighter over this.
Yeah.
Take heart in that. I wish I could offer you more than blood, toil, tears, and sweat, like Churchill said. But you know what? They won, and we will too.
Yeah.
And I'll leave it at that. It's not a great day. It's not what any of us were hoping to see on here, but it's not going to be. It's not over.
No, we don't know. We don't. When it's not over, it is not over. There is still 322 of 338 ridings have been called. 13,681 votes total so far.
Yeah.
So there's another 2.5 million votes need to be counted still.
Yeah. Yeah. So Trudeau, this is what's going to happen though. Trudeau, there's a lot of people that do not consider the Liberals and the NDP to be interchangeable. They voted Liberal, right? And if Trudeau has to make concessions to the NDP in order to maintain a majority, those people are going to leave.
Yeah.
So the Conservative Party doesn't even have to move. All they have to do is hold their ground, and some of those people are going to come to them next time.
It's kind of like when Bernie Sanders won the primary, but they gave it to Hillary instead. Then everyone voted Trump.
Yeah, that's right. And that's part of the reason they voted Trump. You had a lot of people that were ready to support Bernie. They supported Trump as not necessarily because they liked Trump so much, although hopefully some of them do more now. But they didn't want Hillary. Hillary was probably one of the least popular candidates.
Well, it looks like she's going to be back in the running again. And I'll be very interested next year to see if she runs. I would be ecstatic if she did. It'd be so entertaining to dissect her speeches and watch her position on stage and watch her motions and if she got robotic parts inside her.
Oh yeah, no. Like I said before, they'll prop her up if they have to. If they have to do the weekend at Bernie's thing and just inject her with embalming fluid to keep her standing upright, you know what? Yeah, they'll put her out there. They're going to get their money's worth out of her. She owes them $1 billion and didn't become president, right? So how is it cons have more votes but less seats? Well, first past the post, Liz. That's how it is. They got more votes nationally, but they didn't get the majority in enough ridings to take control. And it's possible that, in some of those more bellwether ridings that the PPC drained votes from the right and the Green Party drained votes from the left.
Yeah.
So it sucks. But, I mean, remember, Liberals can read charts, too. They can read graphs, too. They can realize that they lost a lot of votes.
Well, they lost 21 seats so far.
Yeah, they're not exactly a juggernaut, Trudeau is going to be even more of a lame duck prime minister than he was when he had a majority. So I don't think, you're going to have some protests. You're going to have some real pushback, and you're going to have a lot of conservative provinces now that are going to be a little less reluctant to use a notwithstanding clause. So Ottawa is going to have to think hard about the things that they try to push on us. It may be a bit of a Mexican standoff, but maybe things will just stay static for another 4 years.
I hope it stays static for 4 years because we don't want the last 4 years. 4 years we've lost a lot in 4 years.
Yeah, we've lost a lot. We have, but if everything goes static, oh good, Steve the plumber's back. If things go static, then it gives us a chance to consolidate. I've said the same thing about Trump. I don't know if he's legit. I don't know if he can overthrow the deep state or whatever he's trying to do. I don't know if Doug Ford can accomplish what he's setting out to do in Ontario. But the important thing is we have people in there that have bought us some breathing space and bought us some time so we can personally prepare. Okay, your number one priority, folks, is that little micro state called your household.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and your own individual persons. Look after you first. We all love Canada. We all really like Canada to be what it could have been, and have and realize the kind of potential that it still really does have. But man, we got problems.
Yeah,
We got problems. But it's all going to start at home. Make the best decisions you can for yourself, always.
that's right. That's right. That's right. Yep, civilized Canadians are great dialogue. Look how rational and civilized Canadians are. Great dialogue from Lou Guy. Big E says, I'm surrounded by socialists. Steve the Plumber says,
Yeah.
I honestly think we will see another election in 2 years. That's how these minority governments work.
Well, don't rule that out too. Yeah, Steve's right. It has happened. It's definitely happened, and it happened over tax increases.
But
What
there's
was
so
the
much
space there?
damage over the last 4 years. 2 more years will put us not even. It'll bring our global. Let's go to our Canada debt clock. I think it went up another like
Yeah.
20, $30 million in the last hour.
Yeah. It's a big number, but those numbers are going up in every country in the civilized world, and for the same reasons: demographics and too much funny money and too much regulation. There's just too many things that are holding people back from creating the wealth that we need to pay this off. These people want more control. The problem is that the control is actually slipping away from them, because I mean the liberals, they probably thought this was it. This is the time we're going to make our move, just like down in the States. And in the end, they got a minority government. They don't have the unlimited power they kind of hoped they would have. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that Justin Trudeau gets to be prime minister again. It's absolute clown world. But you know what? Give this guy another couple of years, and let's see how he manages it with a minority government. He's going to alienate a lot of liberals, because if he goes further left, there's a lot of them that will just flat out, they'll go vote Tory next time. And all Scheer has to do is just keep saying the same things he's been saying.
Yeah.
And for the people that wanted to see another party get in, like the PPC or the Greens, be patient. I don't know how many total votes the PPC got in Canada, but I'm willing to bet they got at least 750,000. That's a hell of a funding base, right? And even if Bernier lost his seat, it means that Scheer is going to have to talk to him, which would have been fine with me. I was not happy to see him get kicked out. I was not pleased by that at all. So, and maybe perhaps Scheer would be a little more willing to antagonize the Quebec dairy lobby than he was last time. We need to move away from a managed economy in this country. It's not working. There isn't enough to hold this place together. It was prosperity, or at least the hope of prosperity, that kept a lot of people working and kept them quiet. It wasn't all bread and circuses, right? But it's still, in the end, if they want to bring in all these hundreds of millions of people, or not hundreds of millions, hundreds of thousands of people, and there's no jobs for them, and the government cheese has to support them, that won't last. As soon as the money runs out, they'll be on the plane going home.
So according to these writings,
just got to tough it out.
So according to the writings that have been dropped in, they are 14 million votes total counted right now.
Wow.
It looks like the Liberal Party won't get a majority now.
Yeah.
Because there's not enough now.
Okay.
Of all the writings.
Okay.
So it looks like they won't win. Hold on. 25, that'll be 35, 36, 37, 38. So they're at 56, 56, 56, 66. Oh, they might still. Well, I don't know. It's really close to call right now. For 170, no. I think they're
Yeah, they haven't got it.
No, they haven't got it. They don't have it.
They haven't got it. Yeah, as long as the Liberals don't have a majority, a lot of problems are going to be solved. Right there, right? Because now Trudeau is not the dictator. He doesn't get to just try to push stuff. Now he has to make a deal with somebody, and that somebody is going to use their leverage to the max. Okay, and they don't like each other. So there you go. I mean, they're going to have to try to maintain. I mean, they don't have to worry about the Conservatives and the NDP working together, right? So they, but if they try to pass any really controversial legislation, It's going to be hard left,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so that the NDP and the Greens will be on board.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but there'll be a lot of backroom deals over that stuff. And
You
you
know,
might actually find some of these people dissent and refuse to show up that day to vote.
can I like, is it going to be like, is this election going to be like the American election, where to this day, of all the Americans I've spoken to, like thousands and thousands since the Trump election that just went through 3 years ago, is it going to be like, I'm not going to find a single human being that voted for Hillary, but she won the popular vote, but still to this day, I even announced it on my show several times. If you voted for Hillary in the last election, can you please call into the show? I'll even send you money on PayPal, because
Yeah.
no one, I haven't met a single person that voted for Hillary. And
Yeah, no, well, they're all watching the guy pouring gravy down his pants, dude. They're not watching shows like yours. I'm being a little bit mean. I mean, they're probably not all wing nuts, but they're just, yeah, like, you're not going to get a lot of people that voted Hillary calling in here.
Well, I
They're
wasn't
they're,
even going to
they're
pay
not
him because I
watching
haven't
channels
met.
like
No,
yours.
even talking to people that visit my store from the States, and
Sure,
people,
sure.
out and about and stuff, and I meet
Yeah,
Americans. I'm like, did you vote for Hillary? They're like, no. I'm like,
yeah,
who the hell voted for this lady?
yeah. Yeah, that's right. Well, there were a lot of people that they claimed had voted for it, and it turns out they either didn't exist or, it really didn't happen, or they weren't even American citizens. So, you know,
Woo!
woo, yeah, yeah, they're all in Southern California and New England, and I guess a lot of them haven't gone through your story yet, but you'll meet one sooner or later.
I still
It'll
have
happen.
okay, yeah, because I know a friend. I have a friend who's a bus driver in Northern California, of all places, in Northern
Yeah,
California, in the just outside of the Bay Area. Okay.
yeah.
And he's been a bus driver for 22 years, and he talks to hundreds of people per day. He still hasn't met
Yeah.
a person that voted for Hillary.
Yeah, I could see where some wouldn't be inclined to admit it. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in light of what's happened in the last 3 years. Anybody with any self-awareness at all, they're going to, they're going to say, "Oh, this isn't very classy. This isn't good." I mean, the Democrats have alienated a lot of people. They used to be the party of the working class. They used to be the party that would support American jobs and American industry, and with the kind of the parasitic relationship between big business and big labor, they would definitely want both to be healthy. But they drank the globalist Kool-Aid in the 80s and 90s,
Mm-hmm.
and since that time, it's just been a matter of well, we'll do all these things to keep power, right? We'll just let people flood in through the border, and we'll just get votes that way. They don't care about wages. They don't care about women. They don't care about minorities. They don't care about LGBT. No one piles up bodies like the left does,
Mm-hmm.
right? As violent and as vicious as they claim that the right wing does, it's left wing governments that pile up bodies, man. I mean, they're not bashful about that at all.
Mm-hmm.
So they need more pragmatic leaders to go, okay, we need to go back to more of a JFK thing. We let Trump take the high ground, and we need to polish up that sword again, and we need to start going in that direction. But I think they've got into a swamp now, pun not intended, of really, really extreme wingnut causes, and the party's been hijacked by those people, and they're not pragmatic anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the liberals will be kind of the same way. Yeah, Jacob 1986, Chrétien was a populist. He probably was. Chrétien was probably more populist than I mean, he definitely wasn't as capital P populist as Bernier,
Right.
but he did understand that everybody had to go to work, and they had to have a reason to go to work, and they had to have some idea of a future, some aspiration of a future. So in that regard, I think Chrétien was at least a Canadian. Like, he knew there were people that wouldn't agree with him, but he still made sure there were enough goodies there to so that even us people that really didn't want him to be prime minister, our lives weren't affected that badly.
Mm-hmm. No,
You
they
know,
weren't. No.
yeah,
With
yeah,
Chrétien, I
we
remember
weren't
when
hurt by it.
Chrétien was on the radio, and we were listening to it in school, and it kept
Yeah.
going. They kept repeating the news that Chrétien called Bush a moron.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and that probably wasn't the best move, but in the
But
end,
that's still, he stood up.
they were on the same team anyway. Actually, what it was one of his cabinet ministers called Bush a moron.
No, no, no. It
Uh,
was no. It was Chrétien said that Bush was a moron.
oh yeah, okay. Well,
No, it was
I don't want.
Chrétien because someone asked somebody was asking him a question during the one of the debates. He asked him. He goes to him and says, "Okay, so what do you think of Bush invading Iraq and is Canada backing the Iraq war?" And Chrétien replied, "Well, Bush is a moron."
Yeah,
So-
well, yeah, I know. Somebody in the Canadian government called him a moron. Yeah, Paul Martin had a balanced budget surplus, and but that was because the Conservatives passed the GST in 1990, and Mulroney actually had to invoke some clause to appoint 8 extra senators to get it through. He committed political suicide. But we were running at that time $40 and $50 billion a year deficits in 1993 dollars. Like it was worse even than Trudeau's doing now. Believe it or not, somebody had to do something. Those entitlements that people expect, all that free stuff that we get here in Canada, someone has to pay for it, and that somebody is you and me. Okay, there's nothing free here. Oh, we have free healthcare. We have free education. We don't. We don't have free anything here. That is not true.
Our postal, like to ship something in Canada is a fortune.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like to ship something from here to Vancouver costs $26 with tracking, but to ship something from Seattle to Florida costs $3 with tracking.
That's right. Yeah, but Paul Martin did balance the budget. He did improve our financial situation. The thing is, he used the money that was available to him, and he did make things. He balanced the books. The biggest problem we had, because there was kind of a boom going on in the 90s, and we in BC missed most of it because we had 2 consecutive NDP governments, and it drove a lot of investment away for the usual reasons.
Yeah, but
and then
it did.
After 2000, it started to come back at least. But yeah, it was. Then we missed most of the boom in North America in the 90s because of that. There was just a lot of capital that was not, and we had a softwood lumber tariff. We were dealing with a major tariff that we're not dealing with today. And the Canadian dollar was like 65 cents or something, which helped a great deal. But we had to deal with that tariff for several years. The Americans were just taking it off the top. Plus, we had the Forest Practices Code, and we had a $12 a cubic meter super stumpage to fund Forest Renewal BC, which was a whole entirely brand new agency that they set up. Yeah, it was an incredible amount of expense and an incredible amount of red tape. Layla, that's why we need to plant 1 million trees. Hon, every tree gets cut in British Columbia has to get replaced. That's the law. We plant millions of trees in Canada in a year.
Yeah, we do.
And we've got lots of trees. Yeah, we need to plant 1 million trees. Yeah,
Okay.
money grows on trees. I understand what you're trying to say, but I did hear that before, so I wanted to address that because Trudeau was talking about planting 2 billion trees. We probably plant that many in a year anyway. It was just a red herring.
Okay, let me ask a question. So now how we're going to go forward? Now with Trudeau, with pro carbon credits, pro carbon tax, Canada wants to lead the way for global warming, and Canada wants to lead the way with climate change.
Yeah.
Canada wants to be the light. Canada wants to be the friggin' Terry Fox there. Now,
Yeah.
and not only that, now Canada also doing that with the climate credits and all that crap, and
Yeah.
then also with intermigration now, what the intermigration pact.
Yeah, we could have problems with that. Yeah.
We joined that, and Canada was front and center, and Canada wants to be the number one. Canada wants people from Ethiopia. Canada wants
Yeah.
to show the rest of the world that it's possible. So we are leading in the wrong areas, and we're not taking care of our own people, and that's what's scaring me.
Yeah, that's right. Well, then that's the kind of thing where these internal stresses that have always existed in our country are going to start getting red hot, and you're going to wind up. Again, if you don't have an actual separation referendum taking place in Alberta, you're going to have provincial premiers emboldened to use the notwithstanding clause more often to tell Ottawa to get bent. Just tell them to bugger off. Simple as that. Just say, no, you can pass all the taxes you want. You can pass all the things you want. We don't want it here. We're not having it here. Screw you. Simple as that. We're done with you. smarten up. And that's the thing. We're sick and tired of this country of having politicians who will not do that. And once you're in office, okay, and you're actually on the bridge of the ship and steering the damn thing, it's probably easier said than done to do any of those things for all kinds of reasons. Okay, you got a lot of problems here because again, we have this militantly unionized public sector. It's incredibly powerful, and anything that sounds remotely like cutting their benefits or even cutting the rate of growth of their benefits could trigger general strikes that would paralyze the economy and make things even worse.
Yeah.
So it's a problem. It's probably something similar to what happened in Chile. You know, all the buses are on fire now. Well, I guess you're not going to make any money off them, are you, boys?
Nope.
No. Nice job. Yeah, maybe you should have done something else first.
Yeah.
But when you're dealing with that level of systemic corruption, you know, you're dealing with people that are very vicious. And you got your nice, comfortable elected office, and you know, and you don't want to lose it, right? It's not power is a nice thing to have.
Of course, you don't want to lose it.
Yeah. Supreme Mike, no, Cobra Jones, I don't think the sky's falling. Okay, I'm talking about worst case scenarios here. I think Canada will survive because there's lots of old school Canadians around that are going to stick together, right? We don't want to be Venezuela. And we got people that
there's nothing stopping us from being Venezuela.
Well, it may think it can't happen here. That's the thing. Don't think that. It can happen here. If we hadn't beat all the court challenges that have been beat, okay, we'd be a lot like Venezuela now, right? It's the reason we're not is because we have elections. You know, we're able to stage a bloodless coup every 4 years and either continue on the course we're going on or change direction somewhat. But we're also still beholden to the same economic cycles as the rest of the world. And we're going into a downturn. It always happens. It's not even something to be shocked or afraid of. It happens. It's just be ready for it. Right? Canadians don't buy into the consumption mentality that Americans do. I think that's true, Big E. And I think we've learned a lot earlier than they have. There's been a lot of overconsumption here, too. Definitely.
Too much throwaway. Too much
throwaway, yeah. But we got hurt worse than America in some ways. Right. I mean, we didn't get hammered in the real estate market the way they did in 2008, and we didn't have the kind of financial problems that they had. But we had problems. We had mass unemployment. You know, like the rest of the world, we had major problems. And it's instead of an intense pressure, it's just been a slow, steady increase of that pressure. And it gets tiresome after a while. And it doesn't need to be that way. We just need to pay our own way, pay as you go. We need to stop thinking that, you know, personal debt and government debt is prosperity. It's not. It's artificial. It's all going to come to an end, and I'd rather it happen to me than to my grandchildren. You know what I mean? Like, let's just get it over with. Flush the damn toilet so we can start over.
Yes.
Right?
All right, Supreme, I'm going to let you go because I'm falling asleep here.
Oh, okay, buddy.
What time is it? I'm like, it's 9:37.
Yeah.
I've been talking all day, dude.
And yeah. All the polls will be counted by now. And
we're almost there. We're at 331, and right now Liberals are still sitting at 156. Yeah. 15 million votes have been counted, so we're only 7 ridings away. So the Liberals will not get a majority government.
No, and that's the important thing. They won't get a majority government. They're going to have to deal. And if they deal with the NDP too much, they're going to alienate a lot of their people who do not vote NDP. Right? Like, they're not really one and the same. Singh is going to try to pull the Liberals, pull Ottawa to the left, right, and more woke globalist stuff. But he's going to start losing support in his party right off the get-go. And he may have people not show up to vote. You know? So there's lots to hope for. It's not all going to be bad. And remember, whoever's sitting in Ottawa, they don't have control of economic cycles.
No.
Okay, so if Trudeau's in there when the next big recession comes, well, that's in the end, that's good for us.
Yeah, because it'll make him look a lot worse and blame all the people that voted for him.
That's right. Yeah, and he probably won't handle it as well as Harper did last time.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
All right, Supreme. Hopefully we can have you on Mike in the Night.
Yeah, I'll plan on being around. You betcha. Okay, God bless everyone.
Thank you. God bless you. Thank you,
I've hugged the
Supreme.
mic here, and you guys have a great night, and stay strong and stay smart.
Adios, amigo.
Adios, carnal.
Carnal. Yeah, carnal. All right, we'll see you
Carnal.
soon.
Talk to you later. Yeah,
Bye.
bye.
Oh man, Canada is in a world of hurt right now. Lots of people were wanting. Well, it's got a minority government, so I was hoping that the Conservatives were going to pick up at least 139 seats. 139. That's what I was hoping for. That's what I was kind of gauging for. But man, was I ever wrong. Man, was I ever wrong. And you know, the votes, the Conservatives have more votes than the Liberal Party, if you look at this here. But the ridings are different. So the Conservatives have a lot more votes, actually, than the Liberal Party, according to Google elections. But that's just how the cookie crumbles, man. Depending where your riding is and what your vote is worth, that's a huge problem, guys. Anyways, guys, I'm falling asleep, guys. Don't forget to support this transmission. Go ahead and share a video. Get on my channel. Get on. Do I have my channel open here? No, I don't. Get on the channel. Support me on Patreon. Support me on whatever you want. Just get this out there, and let's now go forward and see what happens. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are asking me if I'm going to be covering the American elections, and I said yes, I will be covering. Yeah, Big E says a country divided can't stand. Remember, that was a famous speech by Abraham Lincoln. House divided can't stand. Country divided can't stand. It's very true. And that's that, guys. Oh, man, I'm tired. I've been talking all day here. Did an early show for 3 hours, and now it's almost 10 o'clock. And I'm very kind of upset with the numbers, but hey, you know what? Like Supreme said, it is what it is. They don't have a majority. They're not going to be dictators, so we're going to see what happens now. I think the Liberals and the NDP have enough swing to, unless the Bloc Québécois and the Conservatives get together, and then the Green Party will join the Liberals, of course. And then PPC didn't even get one seat yet, so that's pretty scary. And everyone that I spoke to voted PPC. Everyone I spoke to voted PPC, but they don't even have a damn seat. So it's trying to find someone that voted for Hillary during the Trump and Hillary elections. It's hard to find, somebody, even though she won the popular vote. Yeah. We should get Supreme Cannon, me and Supreme, and a couple other people should run for political office, and Steve the Plumber. We should all run for office for some sort of position somewhere, somehow, and see if we could help that way. But it's just so hard because the amount of funding you need for advertising and then getting cut out of the media because you are going against global warming or some crap like that, you don't stand a chance. If you go against global warming, you're done. Unless you say you're for global warming and then just dismiss it after. Mike, that's right. All of you voted PPC and split the votes. Yeah, John is saying, Canada never failed to miss an opportunity to demonstrate to the rest of the world what a bunch of mediocre idiots they are. Yeah, Alberta should just join Trump. So we're going to follow the Wexit here. We got some Wexit news here. So we're going to keep our pulse on the Wexit news. And Justin Trudeau's Liberal will form a minority government, and here he is talking in his speech, just making people feel,
That, Donna, a lot will be made of this election, and a lot will be said when it comes to whether or not it was the Liberals that won or was it the Conservatives that lost this campaign. And I want to get a little personal here with Charles Adler, everyone. Now, Charles, you have, deep Conservative roots. And you've kind of adopted some of the when we come to talk about social issues and things like that. Maybe
I'm gonna barf if I keep watching this. Anyways, guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Woo! Thanks, guys. Have a good night. God bless.